Tonight, in this quiet space, Dharma in Motion invites you to listen to the teachings of the Buddha, pearls of wisdom that have illuminated humanity for more than 2,000 years. These are not distant doctrines reserved only for monastics, but a living breath woven into every moment of daily life. We can find peace amidst the busyness, learn to release suffering, welcome restful sleep, and beyond that, discover a life of ease and freedom. Perhaps throughout the day you have carried much fatigue, work, family, and worries that you could not even name. Right now, allow your mind to rest. Relax your shoulders, close your eyes, and let the Buddha's words flow through you like a cool stream, washing away dust and sorrow. The Buddha once taught, "Within each person lies a treasure, but that treasure is concealed by greed, anger, and ignorance." We often chase happiness outside ourselves, in wealth, fame, or relationships. Yet the more we seek, the more empty we feel. True happiness does not arise from the external, but from the stillness within. In modern life, we are easily swept into endless races. Phones buzz constantly, work piles up, social media endlessly pulls at our attention. We seem to lose the quiet spaces to return to ourselves. At such times, the Buddha's teachings shine like a lamp, reminding us to pause, take a deep breath, and come back to the present moment. Have you noticed? Suffering often comes from clinging. We cling to a hurtful word and replay it endlessly. We cling to a failure and fear to move forward. We cling to a love that has ended and close our hearts. But the Buddha teaches, all things are impermanent. Joy will pass and sorrow will not stay forever. Like rain, it will cease. Like winter, it will yield to spring. Understanding impermanence, we learn to let go. Letting go does not mean neglect or indifference. It means knowing that nothing can be held forever, so we choose to walk through life with serenity. When we let go, we are no longer chained by the past nor burdened by the future. We live fully in the present, the only place that truly exists. Imagine each night before sleep, you lay down the burdens of the day. Unfinished work, words that troubled you, unsolved worries. You simply whisper, "I allow myself to rest." In that very moment, you are practicing letting go, and in sleep, both your body and mind are healed. The Buddha also taught that the human mind is like a lake. When winds stir the lake, waves ripple and we cannot see the moon's reflection. But when the lake is still and clear, the moon appears perfectly. Our mind is the same. When disturbed by greed, anger, and ignorance, we cannot see the truth. But when the mind is calm, we perceive reality as it is, and wisdom arises. In today's life, such wisdom is not distant. It is the clarity to refrain from anger when criticized. It is the mindfulness not to indulge in endless shopping to fill emptiness. It is the steadiness not to react hastily, but to choose what brings lasting peace. Tonight, ask yourself, what am I holding on to too tightly? An old sorrow, an unfulfilled dream, a wound not yet healed. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to lighten. You do not need to carry it all. Happiness does not lie in holding on, but in knowing how to release. And remember, letting go is not a loss, but an opening for new things to enter. When you let go of anger, love has space to blossom. When you let go of envy, appreciation and gratitude can grow. When you let go of fear, freedom appears. With each breath, you can practice dwelling in the present. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. As simple as that, your mind returns to the now. Peace is not somewhere far away, but right in this very moment. Before ending this first part, let your heart settle like a still lake. Let this voice be a lullaby guiding you into deep sleep. And tomorrow, upon waking, you will feel lighter, calmer, ready to step forward with a new state of mind. The Buddha once smiled at life, for he knew everything is but drifting clouds. Learn to smile at yourself, at your loved ones, at life itself. That smile becomes the key to open peace. Tonight, you only need to remember one thing. Happiness begins with letting go. As you continue listening to the Buddha's teachings tonight, let your mind open like a gently ajar door, allowing the cool breeze of wisdom to flow in. Life is often filled with burdens and weariness, but amidst the stream, there are always moments of stillness if we pause to notice. One of the greatest causes of suffering's the comparing mind. We often look at others and feel inferior, or the opposite, feel superior. Both ways disturb the heart. The Buddha taught that all comparison leads to suffering, for each person has their own karma and their own path. Think about it. We may envy someone's success, yet rarely see the worries and pressure they carry. Or we take pride in what we have, then suddenly fear losing it. Comparison only weighs the heart down. Instead of comparing, we can practice looking deeply into ourselves. Cherish each small step, each quiet effort. When we know how to value ourselves, we no longer need to stand above others to feel enough. The heart becomes lighter, for happiness no longer depends on others' eyes or judgments. The Buddha once gave a simple example. If a glass of water is clear, adding a pinch of salt makes it undrinkable. But if we put the same pinch of salt into a large lake, the salt dissolves, and its taste is no longer noticeable. In the same way, when the mind is vast and generous, small sufferings quickly dissolve. But when the mind is narrow, anything can become a heavy burden. In modern life, we are easily troubled by trivial matters. A comment online, a disapproving glance, an outcome not as expected. If we hold on to them, they weigh the heart down. But if we open our hearts and broaden our vision, we see they are nothing more than grains of salt falling into a vast lake. They dissolve, powerless to make us suffer. So how can we cultivate a vast heart? The Buddha taught, practice compassion. Compassion is not only pity or helping someone in difficulty. Compassion is a way of living, a way of looking at others with gentle eyes, a way of understanding their pain without rushing to judge. When compassion arises, we see that everyone is on their own journey, carrying wounds, dreams, and worries just like us. From there, we feel lighter, less attached to conflicts. You can begin very simply. Each morning, instead of rushing into work, pause for a few seconds to send a blessing to someone in your heart. It could be a loved one, a friend, or even a stranger you meet on the street. When you bless them, you are also planting seeds of peace within yourself. And each evening, before sleep, forgive the things that did not go as you wished during the day, so your heart does not carry resentment. Another teaching the Buddha often emphasized is mindfulness. Mindfulness is not only sitting in silence to meditate, but also paying full attention to each moment. When eating, we know we are eating. When walking, we know we are walking. When listening to someone, we truly listen. Modern life conditions us to multitask, eating while looking at the phone, talking while thinking about work. This scatters the mind, always hurried, never truly present. If tonight you can do just one simple thing, breathe slowly and notice each breath, you will feel a space of peace open within. Breathing in, we know we are alive. Breathing out, we feel light. In that very moment, happiness is already here, without needing to be sought elsewhere. When the mind is nourished by mindfulness, we learn to see life with new eyes. A blooming flower, a gentle breeze, a child's laughter, all become gifts. They remind us that joy does not come only when achieving something great, but is present in the small, ordinary things around us. Tonight, you can try this practice. Recall a moment from the day that made you smile. It could be someone's warm gaze, a sweet message, or simply the refreshing glass of water you just drank. Let that moment expand in your heart and smile gently. You will realize joy is always here. We simply forget it. The Buddha taught, the one who knows contentment is the richest. Contentment does not mean we stop striving, but that ambition does not sweep us away. In modern society, people easily fall into the cycle of the more, the better. More money, more possessions, more achievements. But the more we chase, the more exhausted we feel. To know contentment is to stop and enjoy what we already have, instead of always gazing toward what is not yet here. You may ask yourself, once I longed to have something, and when I finally got it, was I truly happy? Or did I immediately desire something else? If this cycle does not stop, it will never end. But if we smile and appreciate what we already have, we will see that happiness has never left us. Remember, happiness does not come from how much we possess, but from how deeply we can feel. A person with little but who knows contentment is more at peace than one who has much but always feels lacking. Before closing your eyes to sleep, you can whisper, "Today I have enough." Just one simple sentence, yet it reminds us that we are alive, we are breathing, we have a home, loved ones, and precious things, and that is enough for the heart to feel at ease. Tonight, let your mind rest in contentment. Let your heart open with compassion, and let each breath bring you back to the present, where suffering fades and peace is found. Tonight, as the lights soften and all outside sounds fade, let your mind enter a space of deep stillness. There, only your steady breath remains, while the Buddha's teachings echo like a gentle lullaby. In this moment, you can set down every worry and listen more deeply to your own heart. The Buddha once said, "The mind is the root of all phenomena." This means every experience of suffering or happiness arises from the way we perceive. If our mind holds anger, the world feels heavy. If our mind holds love, the world becomes gentler. Life itself may not change, but how we receive it does, and that is where peace is born. Have you noticed that sometimes a single thought can keep you awake all night? A word left unclear, a problem unsolved, and we let them spin endlessly in our head. The mind is like a mill, turning without rest. The Buddha taught that to calm the mind, we must first observe it. When we look at our stream of thoughts without being swept away, we see they are like drifting clouds, coming and going, never staying forever. A simple practice before sleep is to sit quietly for a few minutes, breathing slowly. Each time a thought appears, just smile and whisper, "I see you." No need to push it away, no need to cling to it. Gradually, the mind clears, like a lake calming after waves. When the mind is at ease, sleep comes naturally. In modern life, we are often burdened by expectations. Expectations from work, family, friends, and even from ourselves. When we fall short of them, we easily slip into disappointment and self-blame. But the Buddha reminded us, the root of suffering is craving, desires that surpass our present conditions and abilities. This does not mean giving up, but learning to set down unrealistic expectations in order to find balance. Think back to a time when you achieved something you longed for. Did that joy last long? Soon after, you desired something else. If we look carefully, we see that joy based on craving is always fleeting. By contrast, joy born of acceptance and gratitude is enduring. When we are thankful for what we already have, our mind rests in peace, no longer caught in the cycle of expectation. Take a simple example, drinking a cup of hot tea. If your mind is restless, you feel only a fleeting warmth. But if you truly pause, sense the fragrance, feel the steam in your palms, you will see that cup of tea is a gift. Happiness sometimes is just a cup of tea, but we often miss it, chasing distant things. The Buddha also taught about patience. In the scriptures, he compared the impatient to one who lights a torch against the wind. The flame dies before it burns, and the person is left harmed. The patient, on the other hand, are like farmers who know seeds need time to sprout. In today's life, we crave quick results, quick success, quick wealth, even quick happiness. But true happiness comes only when we patiently cultivate it day by day without haste. Practice patience with yourself. Do not blame yourself for not being calm today, for still being angry, or for not letting go completely. This is a long journey, not to be rushed. Each time you recognize your own weakness, smile, for at least you are more mindful than yesterday. Every transformation takes time, just as the lotus needs mud to grow and the right season to bloom in its full radiance. Another important teaching of the Buddha is forgiveness. Forgiveness is not only for others, but also for ourselves. Many times we hold on to old mistakes, blaming ourselves and exhausting our hearts. But the past cannot be changed. Only the present is where we can begin again. Forgiving ourselves is the way to move forward, so we are no longer bound by the mistakes of yesterday. Forgiving others is also a way of freeing ourselves. When we cling to anger, it is like holding a burning coal to throw at someone else. Yet in the end, we are the ones burned. Letting go of resentment does not mean forgetting everything or accepting all wrongs, but choosing not to let them rule our hearts. Forgiveness is a gift we give to others, but at the same time, it is a gift we give to ourselves. In life today, you may encounter injustice, people who hurt you. But if you carry it within, you will never find peace. Practice looking at them with compassion. Perhaps they are also suffering, and that is why they acted as they did. With understanding, letting go becomes easier. With letting go, the heart becomes lighter and sleep more restful. Tonight, before drifting into sleep, you can gently say to yourself, "I forgive myself, I forgive others." Those words will flow like cool water over your heart, helping you fully relax. And finally, remember this: each day that passes is another chance to begin anew. Even if you stumbled today, tomorrow can still be a new beginning. The Buddha taught, no one can go back and create a new beginning, but anyone can start today and create a new ending. Therefore, do not dwell too much on what has passed. Focus on the present. Let this teaching be like a candle in the night, lighting your heart. Happiness is not far away, but found in each breath, each compassionate thought, each moment of contentment. And when you close your eyes, let that light guide you into deep, peaceful sleep. If these moments of listening bring you peace and lightness, consider leaving a like to spread positive energy to many more people. And don't forget to subscribe to Dharma in Motion, along with the little bell icon, so each evening you may return to stillness and inner peace. In the rare quiet of life, there are times we ask, why do I feel restless, even when nothing special has happened? It is because the mind often runs to the past or rushes toward the future. It recalls old sorrows or worries about what has not yet come. That is why the Buddha pointed out the path of peace, returning to the present. The present is, in fact, very simple. It lies in the breath we are taking in the step we are walking, in the cup of water we are holding, but we often miss it because of endless thinking. Sometimes we eat a meal while our mind is busy with tomorrow's work. Sometimes we talk with loved ones while our heart is lost in unsolved worries. Our absence from the present moment is the very root of unease. Practicing to return to the present is not difficult. Just pause for a few seconds, take a deep breath, and be aware that you are alive. We can listen to the birds outside the window, feel our feet touching the ground, or simply notice our heart beating in our chest. When we do so, we are no longer swept away, and the mind begins to grow still. The Buddha once said, "A day without mindfulness is a day lost." If we let the mind run endlessly to past or future, we lose the precious treasures unfolding right now. A child's smile, a friend's warm gaze, even the gentle touch of the wind, all of these can bring deep joy if only we are truly present. In modern life, presence is even more essential. Pressures from work, the constant flow of information from phones and social media keep us in a state of tension. Practicing mindfulness allows us to pause that hurried pace and realize that life is not just a series of tasks to complete, but also moments to truly live. One of the simple practices the Buddha encouraged is mindfulness in every action. When washing dishes, we know we are washing dishes, feeling the water flow over our hands, hearing the sound of bowls touching. When walking, we are aware of each step, feeling the earth's support. When lying down to rest, we notice the body relaxing. Each action, no matter how small, can become meditation if we are truly present. Beyond the present, the Buddha also taught us to look deeply into the causes of suffering. We often blame circumstances or others, but with reflection we see that the roots of suffering mostly lie within our own mind. Someone may speak words that hurt, but it is our clinging to those words that prolongs the pain. An event may last only minutes, yet we carry it for days, months. Suffering lingers because we refuse to let go. When we understand this, we learn to take responsibility for our own happiness. We no longer wait for someone else to bring peace. We create it by changing how we see. A criticism, if we take it as an opportunity to reflect, becomes a gift. A failure, if we see it as a lesson, becomes a stepping stone to growth. The Buddha also reminded us that the human mind is like a field. If we plant seeds of anger, weeds will spread. If we plant seeds of compassion, fragrant flowers will bloom. Every thought, every action is a seed sown into the mind. With mindfulness, we choose to plant wholesome seeds. Over time, they sprout and grow into lasting peace. You can begin sowing seeds of peace today. When you meet someone, offer a smile. When listening, listen with sincerity. When you see someone in difficulty, help within your capacity. These small acts accumulate, nourishing your heart and bringing you greater calm. Another important teaching of the Buddha is non-self. We often see ourselves as the center, as the I that must be protected and affirmed. But this very I is the root of much anxiety. When praised, I is happy. When criticized, I is sad. When losing something, I suffers. Yet if we look deeply, we see that I is only a combination of many conditions. Parents, society, the earth, the sky. Nothing truly belongs to a separate I. Understanding non-self does not make us indifferent, but helps us cling less to ourselves. When we no longer hold tightly to I and mine, we feel lighter, more forgiving, more loving. We see our connection with others, with nature, with all beings. And within that connection, compassion arises naturally. Imagine, if we no longer saw ourselves as separate, would we be so quick to be angry at others? Or would we see that they too suffer in their own way? Realizing this, we learn to live more harmoniously, causing less harm and nurturing enduring peace. Before closing this part, let your heart settle. Feel the rhythm of your breath and remind yourself, the present is a precious gift. Sow seeds of compassion in every thought, every action. Look at life with the eyes of non-self, and you will see you are never alone. Then, when sleep arrives, you will feel light, as if lying in a peaceful field where only the cool breeze and the whisper of serenity remain. Have you ever wondered why, facing the same misfortune, some people move on easily while others suffer for years? The answer lies in how we receive it. Life is never without storms, but our attitude is the boat that carries us through them. The Buddha once taught that suffering cannot be avoided, but how we face it determines our happiness. If we cling tightly to suffering, we are like someone pierced by a thorn who keeps pressing it deeper. On the other hand, if we loosen our grip, if we accept, healing begins. Acceptance is not resignation, but seeing reality with a calm heart. Think back to a time you faced failure. At first, it may have felt painful, a loss. But later, that very failure taught you a valuable lesson, making you stronger. Without it, you would not have the resilience you have today. In this way, suffering has its positive side. It trains us, softens our hearts, and opens the door to understanding. A beautiful image often mentioned in the scriptures is the lotus. The lotus grows out of the mud, yet carries no stench of it. In fact, it is the mud that makes the lotus pure. People are the same. If we know how to transform, we can use suffering as the material to nourish happiness. Mud is essential for the lotus to bloom, just as suffering is essential for us to learn to cherish peace. In modern life, many try to hide suffering by burying themselves in work, entertainment, or shopping. These only help us forget temporarily, but the wound inside remains. The Buddha advised, instead of running away, sit with your suffering, embrace it with mindfulness. When we recognize it clearly, suffering begins to dissolve. Like darkness, as soon as light appears, it has no place to remain. You can practice this by writing down your feelings. When sad, sit quietly, breathe slowly, and note in a few lines, I am sad, I am worried, I am angry. So, simply naming the feelings is the first step in recognizing and transforming them. We are no longer led by emotions, but begin to master our own mind. Another essential teaching of the Buddha is impermanence. Everything in life changes, nothing lasts forever. When joy comes, it will also pass. When suffering arrives, it too will go. Understanding impermanence, we no longer cling too tightly to anything. We know to cherish happiness when it comes and to be patient when suffering visits. Think of a day of heavy rain. The sky was dark, perhaps making you sad. But a few days later, the sky clears, the sun shines bright. Everything turns, and so does the heart. Do not believe suffering will stay forever. It is only a passing storm, giving way to sunlight. In family life, understanding impermanence helps us treasure more. Often we take loved ones for granted, only regretting when they are gone. If we know everything is fragile, we will no longer be indifferent. We will cherish every meal, every kind word, every moment together. That is how we turn the present into happiness. The Buddha also advised us to practice letting go. Letting go does not mean discarding everything, but releasing what burdens the heart. There are memories we have carried for years, each recall bringing pain. Yet if we understand that the past is gone and cannot be changed, we can choose to set it down. Only when the hands release can they open to receive something new. You may ask yourself, what am I carrying that is unnecessary? Perhaps a grudge, a distant worry, or a lingering regret. Imagine placing it down, like removing a heavy stone from your backpack. A sense of lightness will spread within, and you will see that letting go is an art of happiness. In the modern context, letting go also means knowing how to choose. We cannot hold on to everything, not every task, not every relationship, not every concern. If we can choose what is essential and release what is excessive, life feels simpler and the mind becomes clearer. There is a story of a man who wished to cross a river. He built a raft, and with it, he reached the other side. But once there, he refused to leave it behind, carrying it on his shoulder as he continued. Did that help him? Clearly not. The raft was useful for crossing the river, but once across, it had to be left behind. In life, too, some things once served us, but eventually we must release them to move forward. When we understand impermanence and practice letting go, we no longer fear change. Instead, we see life as a flowing river and learn to drift with it, gently like a leaf on the water, not resisting, not clinging, simply at peace. Before closing this part, try taking a deep breath, reminding yourself, suffering is like the rain. It will pass. Happiness is like the sun. It will change. All is impermanent. Therefore, live each moment fully. Learn to cherish, learn to let go. And in that understanding, peace will bloom in your heart, guiding you into restful sleep. In quiet moments, we often realize that true happiness does not come from luxury, but from inner peace. A spacious house, a successful career, or an ideal relationship may bring joy, but if the heart is restless, emptiness remains. The Buddha once taught, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." This means happiness is not a destination in the future, but the way we walk in the present. Picture a morning when you awaken, the sun rising, golden light streaming through the window. You take a deep breath and realize you are alive, gifted with a new day to experience. In that very instant, happiness is already present. It needs no condition, no one to grant it. All that is required is a heart that pauses and recognizes. Yet we so often overlook these simple joys. We chase grand goals, believing only their attainment will bring happiness. But the more we chase, the more exhausted we become. Like one trying to catch his own shadow under the sun. The faster he runs, the farther it seems. Meanwhile, happiness has always been beside us, waiting only for us to stop, turn, and see. A useful practice is knowing contentment. Knowing contentment does not mean giving up dreams or stopping progress, but stopping endless craving. In modern life, advertising and comparison constantly make us feel lacking. Someone else has a beautiful car, and we want a better one. Someone succeeds, and we want double the success. Yet the more we want, the more restless the mind becomes. The Buddha emphasized, the one who knows contentment is the richest. You can try reflecting on today. What do I already have to be grateful for? A home to shelter you, food to eat, loved ones to talk with. This is already happiness. When we appreciate what we have, we are no longer swept away by the illusion of scarcity. And this very contentment nourishes peaceful sleep. Another important point in the Buddha's teaching is love. Love is not weakness, but the strength that helps us overcome suffering. When the heart is closed, we easily feel lonely, resentful. When the heart opens, we feel connected to others, recognizing that their suffering is also our own. The Buddha taught the practice of compassion with simple blessings. May I be safe. May those I love be safe. May those I do not like also be safe. May all beings be safe. Each night before sleeping, if we repeat these words with sincerity, our mind softens, our heart warms. From there, sleep becomes gentle. In daily life, there are times when it feels hard to love those who have hurt us. But love does not mean agreeing with what is wrong. It means not letting hatred rule us. When we keep a compassionate heart, we protect ourselves from the fire of anger. Forgiveness and compassion are not only gifts to others, but medicine for our own hearts. A story in the scriptures tells a man insulted by his enemy came to complain to the Buddha. The Buddha asked, "If someone gives you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" He replied, "To the giver." The Buddha said, "In the same way, if you do not accept insults, they remain with the one who spoke them. Why carry them within and suffer?" This teaching reminds us that we can choose whether or not to accept suffering from others. Alongside compassion, the Buddha also encouraged the practice of joy. Joy is a pure delight, not dependent on comparison. When we see others succeed instead of envy, we can rejoice with them. When we see someone healthy and happy, our heart can share that joy. This joy opens the mind, dissolving smallness. And when the mind knows joy, it is no longer eroded by jealousy. In today's society, envy and comparison are sources of much restlessness. Social media makes this even clearer. We see others' lives appearing perfect, and our hearts are unsettled. But looking deeply, we know everyone has their own struggles. We see only what they show, not what they hide. When we practice joy, we are no longer bound by comparison, but learn to celebrate the shared happiness of life. Another element that nourishes happiness is equanimity. Equanimity is not indifference, but keeping balance in the face of change. When praised, we are not overly proud. When criticized, we are not overly saddened. When fortune comes, we do not rush into arrogance. When difficulty arises, we do not sink into despair. By keeping this balance, our minds flow calmly, steady, and at peace. Practicing equanimity is like protecting a lamp in the wind. The wind may blow, but if we shield it skillfully, the flame still shines. In life, praise and blame, gain and loss, success and failure are winds that never cease. If the mind is swept along, we become weary. But if we keep balance, the light remains steady, unmoved. Before closing this part, you can try letting go a little. Take a deep breath, relax your body, and whisper, "I am content. I love myself. I love others. I rejoice in the joys of life. I keep my mind in balance." These gentle reminders are like a soft blanket over the soul, calming you and guiding you into deep, restful sleep. Once a man came to the Buddha lamenting, "I have tried so hard, yet why am I still suffering? I work tirelessly, care for my family, seek a full life, and still my heart is restless." The Buddha smiled and asked, "Have you ever sat down, breathed deeply, and asked yourself, what is it that you truly need?" This question seems simple, but it opens many doors. Most of us rush forward without pausing. We believe that with more money, more recognition, more approval, then happiness will come. Yet the more we gather, the more we feel lacking. Because the mind always wants more, it never feels satisfied. The Buddha called this craving, the root of suffering. Craving is not only for material things, but also for endless desires for emotions, attention, power, even control. When we cannot get what we want, we suffer. When we do get it, we fear losing it. And so the mind spins in circles of worry. But the Dharma does not point out suffering to leave us in sorrow. Instead, the Buddha taught how to untangle it. He emphasized that when we pause and look deeply, we can see what our true needs are and what are only illusions. Like when thirsty, we need water. But if we keep drinking endlessly, at some point water itself makes us ill. Happiness is the same. Only enough is sustainable. A helpful practice is to regularly shine the light back on ourselves. Each night before sleep, we can ask, what made me happy today? What made me sad? Of these, what truly matters? By answering honestly, we see that many worries are only fleeting. A careless word from someone, a delay at work, an item not yet bought, none of these are worth losing sleep over. There is a folk tale of a poor man who met a wise sage. He complained that he never felt content. The sage gave him an empty cloth bag and said, "This is a magic bag. Place inside all that you do not need, and it will lighten your heart." Confused, the man tried. Each day he placed his frustrations, comparisons, and worries into the bag. Gradually, he felt his mind clear and lighter. He realized happiness does not come from adding more, but from knowing how to let go. In modern life, this lesson is even more practical. Social media, work, and relationships pull us in many directions. We easily carry a bag full of tension. But if we learn to choose to let go, we make space for peace. Sometimes happiness comes simply from turning off the phone a little earlier, sitting quietly for a few minutes, breathing slowly and smiling. The Buddha also taught that practice is not only sitting in meditation or chanting sutras, but in how we live each day. When eating, eat with mindfulness. To taste the sweetness of rice and the freshness of vegetables. When speaking, speak with compassion, so your words do not wound. When listening, listen with empathy, so the other feels understood. These small acts, repeated daily, nourish a life of peace. An important thing to learn is patience. People often want immediate results. When meditating, we wish for instant calm. When helping others, we want immediate recognition. But the Buddha taught that a tree needs time to bloom, just as the seeds in the mind need time to bear fruit. If we are impatient, we easily give up. On the other hand, with patience, we will see change little by little, becoming more solid and profound. One time, a young monk asked his teacher, "Master, I meditate all the time, but my mind is still restless. I feel discouraged." The teacher replied, "When you plant a seed, do you dig up the soil every day to see if it has sprouted yet?" The young monk was surprised. "No, if I did that, the seed would rot." The teacher nodded. "Exactly, your mind is the same. You just need to plant the seed and care for it. One day it will sprout. Don't be too hasty." That teaching also applies to modern life. We often want instant results. Learn fast, get rich fast, succeed fast. But the truth is, lasting values take time. Patience is the key to keeping the mind peaceful and to not collapsing in the flow of life. And above all, the Buddha always reminded us of gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of happiness. When we are grateful to our parents for nurturing us, to our teachers for guiding us, to our friends for accompanying us, and even to the challenges that trained us, our hearts open wide. Those who are grateful are not easily discontent, for they see value in everything. Before closing this part, you may relax your body. Gently close your eyes and whisper, "I have enough. I am grateful. I am patient. I let go." These words are like a cool stream flowing into the heart, washing away worries, leaving behind gentle peace. And then, in that stillness, you will find it easy to fall into a peaceful sleep, as if embraced by the arms of serenity. In life, no one can avoid moments of being misunderstood, criticized, or rejected. Sometimes we feel our hearts are like a mirror covered with dust, though the mirror itself is inherently clear. The Buddha's teaching reminds us that instead of reacting hastily, we should learn to pause and observe. Once a man insulted the Buddha harshly in front of a crowd, but he simply sat quietly, listening without anger. After the man stopped, the Buddha calmly asked, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man answered, "To the giver." "Nah," the Buddha smiled. "In the same way, the words you spoke, since I do not accept them, they still belong to you." This story shows us that composure is the greatest strength. In modern life, we encounter many such gifts: a malicious comment online, a disparaging remark at work, or a cold judgment from a loved one. If we hastily take them in and treat them as truth, we will suffer. But if we know how to not accept, our mind will remain steady. That does not mean we reject all criticism. On the contrary, when calm, we can discern which words are sincere and worth listening to, and which are merely someone's momentary anger. This clarity helps us grow without being too wounded. A useful practice in such moments is to take a deep breath before reacting. Just 3 slow breaths give us a pause so the mind is not swept away. In that pause, we can ask ourselves, is this really worth losing my peace over? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And we can choose silence, a smile, or a gentle response. The Buddha also taught that anger is like a burning coal. When we throw it at someone else, we are the ones who get burned first. Holding on to anger only makes us irritable, sleepless, and exhausted. To extinguish it, only the cool water of compassion and wisdom can help. When we see that the other person is suffering, which is why they spoke harsh words, it becomes easier to let go. Another story tells of 2 friends traveling together. One of them was slapped by a stranger. He was angry but did not retaliate, only quietly wrote in the sand, "Today my friend slapped me." Later, as they continued, they reached a river. The one who had been slapped, slipped, nearly drowned, but was saved by his friend. When he recovered, he carved into a stone. "Today, my friend saved me." The friend asked in surprise, "Why did you write in the sand when I slapped you, but carve in stone when I saved you?" He replied, "Because the wind will blow away the words in the sand, so anger disappears, but the stone keeps forever, so gratitude remains." That story reminds us that suffering should be carried away by the wind, while gratitude should be carved deep in the heart. This is also the spirit of the Buddha's teaching. Nurture compassion and gratitude, so the mind remains light. In modern life, we can apply this in small ways. When someone upsets us, breathe and let go as if writing in the sand. When someone helps us, remember it as if carving in stone. Such an attitude will make relationships more harmonious and free us from entanglement. Another important point is how we speak. Words are like seeds. Once sown, they grow into fragrant flowers or harmful weeds. The Buddha taught about right speech, words that are truthful, gentle, nurturing, and timely. If we speak harshly, not only do others suffer, but we also become troubled. On the other hand, a warm word can dissolve anger. You may recall a time when someone offered you a word of encouragement. Even if brief, it could brighten your whole day. In the same way, a gentle word from us can be a light in someone else's gloomy day. When we use words as gifts, we bring joy to others and clarity to ourselves. You may wonder, will living kindly like this put me at a disadvantage? The Buddha answered through his very life. He did not use power or weapons, only compassion and wisdom to transform hearts. More than 2,000 years later, those teachings remain, for such strength never fades. In our lives too, kindness is not weakness, but the strength that preserves peace of mind. Before closing this part, you may sit quietly for a moment, listen to your breath, and whisper, "I do not accept harsh words. I write suffering in the sand. I carve gratitude into stone. I speak kindly." These words are like a soft pillow, lifting your soul into peace, so sleep may come gently. There is a simple truth often forgotten. Happiness does not come from holding on, but from sharing. The Buddha once taught that wealth, fame, or knowledge, if clutched only for oneself, will soon make the heart narrow. But when shared, their value multiplies while our hearts grow open and light. Think back to a time when you helped someone, perhaps giving up a seat on the bus, sharing a meal, or simply asking how they were when they were sad. However small, that moment warmed your heart. The joy of giving has a special power. It never diminishes but grows fuller with time. In the scriptures, there is a story about a poor old woman who had only a little oil in her small lamp. One day she heard that the temple needed light. Though she herself was lacking, she still offered that meager oil. People laughed at her, saying she was stingy, giving so little. But the Buddha smiled, saying that her lamp shone the brightest, for it carried her wholehearted sincerity. Indeed, that lamp burned the longest, never extinguished even in strong wind. The story reminds us that true value does not lie in quantity, but in the purity of the heart. In modern life, we sometimes think we must be wealthy to share, but in truth, sharing does not always mean money. A smile, a listening ear, a hand to hold are also gifts. When your friend is sad and you sit silently by their side, listening without words, that too is sharing. When a loved one is tired and you cook a meal, that too is love. The Buddha called this dana, generosity, one of the most noble virtues. Giving is not only about material things, but also about offering time, understanding, and forgiveness. Each act of giving helps us let go of a little selfishness. Each letting go makes our hearts more spacious, and in that space, peace has room to blossom. Sometimes sharing is not about giving more, but about not keeping what we do not need. A person who hoards too many possessions feels their house is cramped, while one who lets go feels it is spacious. Likewise, our hearts become open when we do not store hatred or resentment. Forgiving others, in the end, is how we give the gift of peace to ourselves. A small practice you can try. Every night before sleep, recall one thing you gave during the day, however small. It may be a sincere thank you, a smile to a server, or an item you no longer needed but offered to someone. Remembering this, you will feel your heart lighter and your sleep deeper. The Buddha also spoke of the joy of sharing. He once said that those who give are never poor, for they are rich in love. By contrast, those who only keep for themselves, even with great wealth, remain poor, for their hearts are always lacking. When we truly understand this, we are no longer haunted by the fear of loss. In today's society, many chase after accumulation, afraid of not having enough tomorrow. But if we look deeply, we see that sufficiency is already here, now. When we eat a meal, how many hands contributed? The farmer planting rice, the transporter, the seller, the cook. Just by recognizing this web of connection, gratitude arises naturally, and we feel the wish to share in return. Another story tells of a wealthy merchant who often brought food to offer to the Buddha and the Sangha. Someone asked, "You are so rich, what is the worth of giving such a little?" He smiled. "It is because of giving that I feel truly rich." Indeed, true wealth is not measured by the coins in a chest, but by the openness of the heart. Sharing is also a way to ease sorrow. When we suffer but keep it inside, the burden doubles. But when we dare to share with someone we trust, it lightens. Conversely, when we listen to another's pain, we help them unload part of their burden. Like two people carrying something heavy, it is always easier than one alone. In family relationships, if there is sharing, burdens become lighter. A husband shares housework with his wife. A wife shares understanding with her husband. Parents share love with their children. When everyone carries a part, the family becomes warm. But if each keeps only to themselves, the family becomes heavy. Before closing this part, take a slow breath and whisper to yourself, "I choose to share instead of keeping for myself. I write suffering in the sand. I carve gratitude into stone, and I open my heart to others." These words are like a cool stream flowing through the mind, soothing the burdens of the day, helping you gently enter a peaceful sleep. If you feel lighter after listening, please press like to share this piece with more people. And don't forget to subscribe to Dharma in Motion so we can continue the journey of returning to peace in every moment. Once a disciple asked the Buddha, "Master, I see that most people live in worry. Everyone fears loss, fears sickness, fears aging, fears death. How can one escape this fear?" The Buddha calmly replied, "Fear comes from attachment. When you let go, fear dissolves." That answer seems simple, yet it touches the root of the matter. In fact, most of life's suffering does not come from circumstances themselves, but from our clinging to them. We cling to youth and so fear aging. We cling to health and so fear illness. We cling to possessions and so fear loss. We cling to loved ones and so fear separation. The tighter we hold, the greater the fear. The Buddha taught about impermanence as a medicine. Impermanence is not something to dread, but a truth to accept. Because everything changes, today's sorrow can become tomorrow's joy. Because everything changes, the cold winter turns into warm spring. Realizing impermanence, we no longer cling but cherish each present moment. In modern life, we are often obsessed with control. We want everything to go our way. Work to be smooth, family to be harmonious, health to always be strong. But the truth is, no one can control everything. When things go off plan, we worry and tire ourselves out. If we accept impermanence, our hearts become lighter. There is a story of a king who gave a wise man a ring, asking him to inscribe a phrase that would comfort him when sad and keep him humble when joyful. The sage carved, "This too shall pass." Indeed, when sad, Remembering that sadness will pass gives us hope. When happy, remembering joy will pass keeps us from clinging too tightly. This reminder helps us remain calm through ups and downs. A small practice. Whenever facing difficulty, whisper to yourself, "This too shall pass." The words are like a soft pillow supporting the soul. Repeating them lightens the heart, making restful sleep easier. Moreover, the Buddha taught mindfulness as the key to overcoming worry. When the mind runs to the past, we feel sorrow. When it runs to the future, we feel anxiety. Only in the present moment do we find peace. Try sitting quietly and focusing on the breath. In, out, slow, deep. When the mind returns to the breath, worries drift away like passing clouds. In daily life, we can practice mindfulness in very simple ways. When drinking a sip of water, know you are drinking. When washing your hands, know the cool water touching your skin. When walking, know your feet touching the ground. These seemingly simple moments are the gateways to peace. Someone once asked, "Why is it that when I meditate, my mind is still restless?" The Buddha replied, "It is not to force the mind to be still, but to see clearly that it is restless. When we see it, little by little the mind will calm down. Like a lake, when stirred strongly, the water is murky. But if we simply sit quietly, the water settles and the bottom of the lake reveals itself." A beautiful image often mentioned is the sky and the clouds. Our mind is like the vast sky, while joys, sorrows, and worries are only clouds passing through. Do not mistake the clouds for the sky. Let them pass and the sky remains clear. Realizing this, we will no longer let worries dominate, but allow the mind to open wide. In today's society, pressures from work and study cause many to lose sleep. But if we practice mindfulness, each evening before sleeping, we only need to sit quietly for a few minutes, breathe deeply, and release our thoughts. Then sleep will come as gently as falling leaves. A short story. Someone came to a Zen master, complaining that he often lost sleep because of worries. The master handed him a glass of water and said, "Shake it hard." The water turned cloudy. Then he said, "Put it down, don't touch it anymore." After a while, the water cleared again. The master said, "Your mind is the same. Don't try to force it still. Just leave it alone and it will settle by itself." That story gives us a lesson. Sometimes we don't need to do much. Just let go, just let the mind rest, and peace will come naturally. Before ending this part, you may relax, gently close your eyes and whisper, "This too shall pass. I am here in the present moment. I breathe and I smile." These words are like a soft light, illuminating the long night, bringing you into peaceful sleep. In life, one of the greatest causes of suffering is comparison. We often look at others and ask, "Why do they have this while I don't?" Comparison makes the heart restless, gives rise to desire, and from there come envy and exhaustion. The Buddha taught that the root of envy is failing to see the value of ourselves and what we already have. Once, someone complained to the Buddha, "I suffer so much because I always feel inferior to others." The Buddha asked, "If a fish wanted to fly like a bird, would it suffer?" The person replied, "Of course it would, because fish have no wings." The Buddha smiled. In the same way, every being has its own nature. Fish swim in water, birds fly in the sky, flowers bloom on the earth. Each has its own value. You suffer because you forget your true nature. Why, that answer reminds us that happiness comes from living in harmony with our own abilities and true nature, without needing to compare with anyone. In modern society, social media intensifies comparison. We see others as successful, wealthy, and happy, and feel inadequate. But behind every photo, every smile, no one knows the worries they carry. Comparing ourselves to illusions only makes us more restless. The Buddha taught about contentment, knowing enough. One who knows enough can be joyful even on a torn mat. One who does not know enough can be restless even on gold and silver. Knowing enough does not mean we do not strive, but that we cherish what we already have, not letting endless ambition sweep us away. A small practice. Each night, write down 3 things you are grateful for that day. They may be very simple: a good meal, a child's smile, a cool breeze. When we learn to see the beauty around us, our hearts will feel lighter. And it is this grateful attitude that helps us sleep well, instead of holding on to comparison and dissatisfaction. There is a story of a very wealthy king who could not sleep because he was always afraid of losing his riches. One day he saw a poor farmer sleeping soundly under a tree. The king asked, "Why do you sleep so peacefully?" The farmer replied, "Because I have nothing to lose." Those simple words awakened the king. Wealth without letting go is not as peaceful as a poor man who knows contentment. In daily life, we don't need to give up all possessions to find peace. What matters is the attitude of the heart. When we appreciate each small thing, we see ourselves as rich. When we stop comparing, the mind rests more easily. Another aspect the Buddha emphasized is compassion toward oneself. We are often harsh with ourselves, thinking we are not skilled enough, not good enough, not successful enough. But remember, each person is on a journey, taking steps that may be slow, sometimes stumbling. Treat yourself with kindness as you would treat a dear friend. One practice is each evening before sleep to whisper, "I did my best today. I deserve to rest. I am grateful to myself." When we learn to love ourselves, we feel less envy, less comparison, for we already see fullness within. There is a short story of a Zen master and his student. The student lamented, "Master, I feel useless. Everyone else is better than me." The master handed him a flower and asked, "Is this flower beautiful?" He replied, "Yes." Then the master pointed to another flower, smaller and with fewer colors. "And what about this one?" He replied, "Also beautiful, but not as much as the first." The master smiled. You see, each flower has its own beauty. You too don't need to be like anyone else to be cherished. That story reminds us, in the garden of life, each person is a flower. Comparison only makes flowers wither, while appreciation helps them bloom. When we let go of the habit of comparing, we feel lighter. Others have their happiness, we have ours. Others have their suffering, we have ours. No one can live life for another. Realizing this, we stop chasing illusions and return to caring for ourselves. Before closing this part, you may sit quietly, take a deep breath, and whisper, "I know enough. I cherish what I have. I do not need to compare. I am myself, like a flower blooming in its season." These words will lighten your heart, bringing sleep that is gentle and unburdened. One of the arts of living that the Buddha often reminded us of is knowing when to stop. Modern life is like a rushing river, sweeping us into work, plans, dreams, and endless desires. We keep running, forgetting that happiness is not at the destination, but in each step, each breath. Once, a disciple asked the Buddha, "Blessed One, how can I find peace when life is so full of pressure?" The Buddha gently replied, "When you drink a cup of tea, just drink tea. When you walk, just walk. When you breathe, just breathe. Do not search for peace far away. Pause and see that it is already here." That answer is like a bell of awakening. In daily life, we often think we need to have this or achieve that to be truly happy. But the more we chase, the more exhausted we become. When we stop, we see the flower blooming at the window, the sunlight streaming through the door, the breath sustaining our life. Happiness is already present in every moment. A Zen story tells that a master was walking with his disciple. Along the way, he stopped to admire a wild flower by the roadside. The disciple impatiently asked, "Master, we still have to keep going. Why did you stop?" The master smiled. "We have been walking our whole lives, but have you ever stopped to truly look at a flower?" That question left the disciple speechless. The story reminds us, sometimes just pausing for a few seconds to look, to feel, we already hold a treasure. In today's society, many people absorbed in making a living forget the value of stopping. They eat hastily to make it to work, drink coffee without tasting it, talk to loved ones while their minds are busy with their phones. This rushing makes us tense. If we know how to stop, even for a minute, the mind will calm, the body will relax. A small practice. Each night before sleep, you can sit quietly for 1 minute, place your hand on your chest, and feel your heartbeat. Do nothing else, just feel it. That heartbeat reminds you that you are alive, still have chances to love and to be grateful. Just 1 minute of stopping is enough for sleep to come more easily. The Buddha also taught about the middle way, neither indulgence nor harsh austerity. One who chases desires becomes exhausted. One who forces themselves too harshly also suffers. The right path is knowing to stop at enough, balancing between work and rest, between effort and ease. Another story tells of a musician who asked the Buddha how to find peace of mind. The Buddha asked, "When you play, if the strings are too tight, what happens?" The musician replied, "The sound is harsh and the string may break." The Buddha asked again, "And if the strings are too loose?" The musician replied, "The sound is weak without resonance." The Buddha concluded, the mind is the same. It should not be too tight nor too loose. Keep it in balance and there is peace. In daily life, we can apply this too. Work diligently but know how to rest. Love others but know your boundaries so you don't burn out. Dream of rising higher but don't let ambition consume you. When we stop at the right time, we protect our health and also our soul. Perhaps you have experienced moments of working to the point of exhaustion. Even with success, you still felt empty. But when you knew to rest, to stop and reflect, you felt light inside. Stopping is not retreating, but stepping more firmly forward. Another practice. Before sleep, choose one thing from the day that you can smile about. It could be a compliment you received, a task you completed, or simply that you are still breathing, still alive. Stopping to acknowledge this will bring peace to your heart. In one teaching, the Buddha said, "One who knows how to stop, even for a moment, has already stepped through the door of peace." That saying can be a guiding star for life today. When the mind is restless, stop. When you feel swept away, stop. When sad or angry, stop. Just stopping is already a step of liberation. Before ending this part, you may close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and exhale slowly. Whisper to yourself, "I allow myself to stop. I no longer need to run. I am complete in this moment." These words are like a soft pillow, carrying your heart into restful sleep. In life, one of the causes of human weariness is attachment. We often cling tightly to an opinion, a memory, or a pain, refusing to let go. This makes our hearts heavy and our steps slow. The Buddha once taught, "Those who cling to the past are like someone holding a burning coal, thinking they will throw it at another. In the end, they themselves are the ones burned." Once a man was deeply insulted, and in his heart he carried anger and pain. He came to the Buddha, recounted the matter, and asked, "What should I do to take revenge?" The Buddha looked at him and said, "If someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "Of course it belongs to the giver." The Buddha smiled. In the same way, if someone insults you and you do not accept it, then the insult still belongs to them. Why must you take it and burn yourself? That story teaches us one thing. We cannot control others' words or actions, but we can choose our response. If we choose to let go, our hearts remain at peace. If we choose to hold on, we suffer ourselves. In today's society, conflicts can arise anywhere, in families, workplaces, or on the street. Sometimes just one careless word is enough to upset us, but if we always react harshly, we lose sleep and peace of mind. Try choosing silence, a smile, letting go just once. You will find your heart opening far more widely. There is a small story about two monks walking along a muddy path. They met a young woman struggling to cross a river. One monk carried her across. Later, when they had gone far, the other monk reproached him. "We are monks, how could you carry a woman?" The first monk calmly replied, "I set her down at the riverbank long ago. Why are you still carrying her in your heart?" This simple story holds a deep lesson. Often the matter is long past, yet we still cling to it, tormenting ourselves. Letting go does not mean forgetting, but not allowing the past to dominate our hearts. A small practice. Each night before sleep, recall one thing that upset you during the day. Then imagine setting it down, like laying aside a heavy stone from your shoulders. Whisper, "I let go so I can sleep in peace." This practice, though simple, can lighten the heart and bring restful sleep. The Buddha also taught that forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves. Forgiveness does not mean agreeing with the mistake, but freeing the heart from its burden. When we forgive, we are removing the chains binding us. In modern life, we may get caught in online arguments, co-workers' judgments, or misunderstandings with loved ones. If we let our hearts cling to them, we remain tense. But if we learn to forgive, even forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, we find our minds spacious and light. A Zen master once said, "Living in this world, we cannot avoid mud, but let mud only stick to your feet, not to your heart." Just as we wash our feet daily, our hearts too must be cleansed through letting go and forgiveness. Another practice. When lying down to sleep, breathe slowly and whisper, "I forgive those who made me sad. I forgive myself for my shortcomings. I let go to sleep in peace." These words are like cool water, washing away the dust in the heart. Perhaps you have once experienced the feeling of lying awake all night because of a single word, a single unpleasant event. But if tonight you choose to let go, you will realize that sleep can be sweeter than ever before. Before closing this section, let me leave you with a reminder. Letting go does not make us weak, it makes us stronger. For only those who know how to let go are truly the masters of themselves. Gently close your eyes, take a deep breath, and whisper, "I hold on to nothing anymore. I let go to be at peace. I sleep in serenity." In life, one of the causes of our suffering is the habit of holding inside the things left unsaid. We are often so busy that we do not express our feelings, fail to say words of gratitude, or hesitate to say an apology. Then, as time passes, we regret what we never gave. The Buddha once taught that words have the power to nourish or to destroy, to bring forth joy or to create more suffering. Therefore, we must learn to use words at the right time, with sincerity and with compassion. There is a story of a son who was often irritable and would say hurtful words to his mother. One day, while traveling away on his return, he heard the news that his mother had passed. He collapsed by the roadside, covering his face in tears. "If only I had said I was sorry. If only I could have told her that I loved her. But it was all too late." That story reminds us not to let "if only" become a bitter regret. In daily life, the simplest words of love are often the ones we forget. We think our loved ones will understand, so we don't say them out loud. But in truth, a word of encouragement, a simple "I love you, Mom and Dad," or an "I am grateful to you," can be a profound source of healing energy. When we say such words, not only does the listener feel warmth, but we ourselves also feel lighter at heart. The Buddha called this right speech. Words that are truthful, gentle, and timely. A word of right speech is like cool water that soothes the thirst in another's heart. Conversely, a harsh word can be like a blade that cuts deeply into the soul. Thus, practicing right speech is also how we nurture our bonds of love and safeguard our own happiness. Try to recall today. Did you say a word that made someone happy? Did you miss the chance to express gratitude? If not, tomorrow you can begin. Sometimes just a sentence like, "Thank you for being with me," or "I am deeply grateful to you, Mom and Dad." Short and simple, yet able to create lasting joy. Here is a small story. An old man lived near the market, and each day as he passed by, he would smile and greet the vendors. At first, no one paid attention, but gradually, everyone came to look forward to his smile as a small joy of the day. When the old man passed away, the whole market fell silent, and everyone remembered that simple smile. It turned out that sometimes we don't need many words. Just a kind gaze, a smile, can also be right speech. For it is speech not spoken, but spoken from the heart. A small practice before sleep. Think of someone to whom you wish to send gratitude or an apology. You don't need to meet them in person. You can close your eyes, breathe softly, and whisper in your heart, "I am grateful to you," or "I am sorry for the times I made you sad." Even if they cannot hear it, your own heart will feel lighter and your sleep will be more peaceful. In modern life, we easily forget the importance of spoken words, replacing them instead with short messages and quick emojis. Yet there are things that cannot be replaced by hurried texts. A sincere conversation, a direct word, an expression from the heart. These are priceless gifts for the ones we love. The Buddha once taught, "A word filled with love can change an entire life." We do not know what those beside us are going through. Sometimes just one warm word from us is enough to lift them after a long, tiring day. And when we sow kind words, we ourselves reap peace within. Perhaps you too have endured sleepless nights because of a word that hurt you. Words can be sharper than knives, yet on the other hand, they can be sweeter than honey. Instead of dwelling on painful words, tonight, choose to recall one warm word someone once spoke to you. Keep that word as a small candle, lighting your soul and leading you into a peaceful sleep. Before closing this section, please take a deep breath and whisper, "I will use words to create happiness. I am grateful for hearing and speaking sincere words. I release the painful words and keep only the warm ones." This reminder is like a gentle blanket, helping you sleep in peace. In human life, a single word, patience, can dissolve much suffering. The Buddha once taught, "There is no fire fiercer than the fire of anger." When anger rises, it can burn away years of effort, destroy happiness, and even distance us from our loved ones. But if we know patience, we can keep peace in our hearts and protect our relationships. There is a story. One day, the Buddha and his disciples passed through a village. The villagers disliked him and hurled insults, even stones. The disciples grew angry and wanted to retaliate, but the Buddha remained calm, his face serene. When they had gone far, he said, "If someone brings fire but we do not take it, that fire will die out. Likewise, if someone brings insults but we do not receive them, the insults return to them. Why should we hold them and burn ourselves?" That story teaches us that patience is not weakness, but strength. The one who can keep a calm heart amid storms is the truly strong one. In modern life, we often face pressure. At work, the boss scolds. At home, children misbehave. On the road, someone cuts in line. If we always explode, the whole day becomes exhausting. But if we pause, take a deep breath, and smile, the anger gradually fades. A small practice: when angry, take 3 slow breaths. With each breath, whisper, "I am angry, but I will not let anger control me." Repeat 3 times and you will feel the mind soften. This is the practice of patience in daily life. There is a folk tale. A king was famous for his temper. Anyone who disobeyed him was punished. One day he met a sage and asked, "How can I stop being angry?" The sage invited him to sit by a lake. He dropped a handful of salt into a small cup of water and offered it to the king. The king tasted it and grimaced. So salty, unbearable. Then the sage threw the same handful of salt into the lake and invited the king to drink. The water remained sweet. The sage said, "Anger is like salt. If our heart is small like a cup, just a little salt makes life bitter. But if our heart is vast like a lake, no amount of salt can make it salty." That lesson is simple yet profound. If our heart is narrow, we easily become angry over trivial things. But if we expand our hearts and learn tolerance, unpleasant things can no longer bring us suffering. In the family, patience is even more important. So many quarrels between husband and wife, parents and children, all stem from an inability to restrain anger. But if each person takes one step back, keeps silent for a moment, and waits for the heat to subside, the storm will pass. The ancients used to say, "One act of patience brings 9 blessings." Indeed, patience at the right time can preserve lasting happiness. In modern life, people easily post harsh comments on social media in just a moment of anger. But afterward, they often regret it themselves. If we practice patience, choosing silence instead of retaliation, we are the first to find peace. Another practice before sleep. Recall a situation during the day that upset you. Instead of letting the anger linger, smile and say silently, "That has passed. I will not let it follow me into my sleep." When your heart forgives others, you are also forgiving yourself. The Buddha once said, "When angry, do not act in haste. When happy, do not promise too quickly." This teaching reminds us to remain mindful. Anger is just a passing gust of wind. If we know to wait, it will pass, and the sky will clear. But if we react too quickly, the consequences may last a lifetime. Before closing this section, please take a deep breath and whisper, "I open my heart wide. I do not let anger control me. I practice patience to find peace." When you release the fire of anger, you will see sleep come gently, like a calm lake under the moonlight. In life, there is an invisible yet immense power: gratitude. The Buddha taught that those who live with gratitude always live in happiness, because they see something precious everywhere. On the contrary, the ungrateful, even with wealth, still feel lacking because their minds are always reaching outward to demand, forgetting to look inward to appreciate. There is a simple but profound story. A poor boy walked a long distance to school every day. One hot afternoon, exhausted, he stopped at a house to ask for water. The woman inside not only gave him water, but also poured him milk. Many years later, when the woman fell gravely ill, her family worried they could not afford treatment. But when the bill came, they found these words: "This debt was paid long ago with a glass of milk." The doctor who treated her was the boy from years before. That story shows that even a small act of kindness, a little love, can leave a lasting mark, becoming a seed of goodness that grows in life. When we are grateful, we not only remember the good we receive, but also wish to pass on goodness to others. In modern life, we often forget the simple things. We are used to a full meal, forgetting that many have no food. We are used to a roof over our heads, forgetting that some must sleep outside. We are used to bright eyes and strong legs, forgetting that others are not so fortunate. When we look with gratitude, we realize how truly rich we are. The Buddha once said, "Among all those who deserve our gratitude, parents come first. Parents gave us our bodies and raised us, but sometimes because of busyness or habit, we rarely say words of thanks. A phone call, a simple question, a hand held, these may seem small, but they are priceless gifts to our parents. While we still have the chance, let us cherish them so that later we will not regret. A small practice: before going to bed, think of 3 things you are grateful for during the day. It could be a delicious meal, a colleague's smile, or simply the fact that you are still breathing, still alive for another day. Write them down or silently repeat them in your heart, and you will feel your mind lighter and more at peace. A Zen master once shared, every morning upon waking, he would bow 3 times. The first bow was for gratitude to life, the second for gratitude to his parents, and the third for gratitude to all who contributed to his existence, from the farmer who grew the rice to the tailor who made his clothes. This habit helped him live with constant joy, for each day became an opportunity to give thanks. In the family, if every member cultivates gratitude, the atmosphere will be completely different. Children grateful to parents, spouses grateful to each other, siblings grateful to one another, then resentments become small. Instead of blame, we will feel fortunate to have companions. Instead of comparisons, we will feel joy for being loved. In today's society, many suffer from insomnia, partly because the mind is restless, always wanting more. But if every night we practice recalling the things we are grateful for, the mind will soften, like dry earth being watered. The grateful sleep more easily, and their rest is deeper. Another story tells of a man who always complained that his house was too small and cramped. He sought advice from a Zen master. The master told him to bring chickens, ducks, dogs, and cats into the house. He obeyed, and the house became suffocating. When he complained, the master told him to gradually take them all out. Only then did he realize his house had been spacious and comfortable all along. From that day, he no longer complained, but lived in gratitude for what he had. That story teaches us that suffering often comes only from comparison and dissatisfaction. When we know how to stop and look with gratitude, we see that we are already complete. Before closing this section, please close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and exhale slowly. Silently say, "I am grateful for today. I am grateful for those who gave me love. I am grateful to myself for having tried." This reminder is like a soft blanket, wrapping your soul and carrying you into warm sleep. There is something many of us forget amid the rushing whirl of life: to slow down. The Buddha once taught, "The one who knows how to stop is the one who truly knows how to live." Yet in modern society, stopping seems like a luxury. We chase after work, social media, and plans, to the point of forgetting the present moment, where life is truly happening. A small story. Once a man complained to a Zen master that he never found peace. He said, "I am always busy, always something to do. When I eat, I think of work. When I work, I think of resting. When I rest, I worry about tomorrow. What should I do?" The Zen master smiled, poured him tea. As the cup filled and began to overflow, the master kept pouring. Alarmed, the man cried, "Master, it's overflowing." The Zen master gently said, "Yes, if the cup is full, how can it hold more? Your mind is the same. You must let go, stop, then peace will have space to enter." That story reflects today's life. Our minds are often like a full cup, full of worries, full of thoughts, full of calculations. Only when we learn to slow down and let go will our minds have room for happiness to enter. In daily life, living slowly does not mean giving up everything. It simply means returning to the present moment, doing one thing at a time. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. When breathing, just breathe. Mindfulness is that simple, yet it holds the power of deep, transformation. You can try practicing tonight. When holding a bowl of rice, don't eat while scrolling through your phone. Chew slowly, savor the flavor, and feel gratitude for the long journey the grain has taken to reach your table. Or when walking, instead of thinking, notice your steps, your breath, and look up at the sky. Just a few minutes and you will feel more at peace. A Zen master once said, "The miracle is not to walk on water or fly in the air, but to walk on this earth in peace." When we live slowly, we truly live. In the family, living slowly means giving time and presence to one another. Many parents are busy working, thinking that buying expensive gifts for their children is enough. But what children need most is attentive eyes, caring words, and a warm hug. Just a few minutes sitting with them, listening to their little stories, can sow seeds of love in their childhood. The same is true for friendship and love. If we are always rushing, only focused on work, relationships will soon wither. An evening turning off the phone, sitting together with tea, and talking is also a way of living slowly, nurturing affection. There was an interesting experiment. 2 identical pots of plants were placed side by side. One pot was watered hastily and carelessly. The other was watered slowly with words of love whispered. After a few weeks, the plant tended to with patience and care grew greener and more vibrant. Humans are the same. If we live in haste, our souls wither. But if we nurture them with gentleness and love, our hearts will bloom. Before sleep, you can try this exercise. Turn off all electronic devices. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Feel your breath. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I am grateful for this heartbeat, for the life still unfolding." This simple practice is a gift you give yourself, bringing peace to your mind and inviting gentle sleep. The Buddha once said, "The past is gone. The future has not yet come. Only the present is a gift." When we live slowly, we truly open the gift called the present. And when we live fully in the present, we no longer regret the past nor worry about the future. Before closing this section, please take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Whisper, "I allow myself to live slowly. I dwell in this very moment. I sleep in peace." Throughout our human journey, one of the things we forget most easily is the value of time. Time passes silently, never to return, and each fleeting moment carries away a part of our lives. The Buddha taught, "Life is short, awaken in every moment." Yet how many of us truly live with such awareness? There is a story. A young man always postponed everything. When asked why, he replied, "I will do it tomorrow." One day, his teacher handed him an hourglass and said, "Each grain of sand that falls is a moment of your life passing by. It never returns. If you always wait until tomorrow, one day the last grain will fall, and you will have no tomorrow left to act." From then on, the young man realized that life does not wait, and happiness can only be found in today. In everyday life, living slowly does not mean abandoning responsibilities. It simply means returning to the present moment, doing what you are doing with full awareness. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. When breathing, just breathe. Mindfulness is that simple, yet it carries the power of profound transformation. You can try it tonight. When holding a bowl of rice, don't scroll your phone while eating. Chew slowly, taste the flavor, and feel gratitude for the long journey the grain of rice has taken to reach your table. Or when walking, instead of thinking, notice your steps, your breath, and the sky above. Just a few minutes and you will feel peace. A Zen master once said, "The miracle is not to walk on water or fly in the air, but to walk on this earth in peace." When we slow down, we truly live. In the family, slowing down means being present for one another, Many parents work hard, believing that buying expensive gifts is enough. But what children need most is the attentive gaze, caring words, and a warm hug. Just a few minutes sitting with them, listening to their little stories, can sow seeds of love in their hearts. Friendship and love are the same. If we are always rushing, focused only on work, relationships will wither. An evening turning off the phone, sitting together with tea, and talking is also a way of living slowly, nourishing affection. An experiment once showed 2 identical pots of plants were grown. One was watered hastily, the other slowly with loving words. After a few weeks, the one nurtured with patience and kindness grew greener and more vibrant. Humans are no different. If we live in haste, our hearts dry out. If we live with gentleness and love, our hearts blossom. Before sleep, try this. Turn off all devices. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Follow your breath. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I am grateful for this heartbeat, for the life that continues." This simple practice is a gift you give yourself, bringing peace and gentle sleep. The Buddha once said, "The past has gone, the future has not come, only the present is a gift." When we slow down, we open that gift, the gift called the present. Living fully in the present, we will not regret the past nor worry about the future. Before closing this section, please take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Whisper, "I allow myself to slow down. I rest in this moment. I sleep in peace." Throughout our journey of life, one of the things we forget most is the value of time. Time slips away quietly, never to return, and each moment carries away a part of us. The Buddha taught, "Life is short, awaken in every moment." Yet, how many of us truly live in such awareness? There is a story. A young man always delayed his tasks. When asked why, he said, "I will do it tomorrow." One day, his teacher gave him an hourglass and said, "Each grain of sand that falls is a moment of your life gone. It never comes back. If you always wait for tomorrow, one day the last grain will fall and there will be no tomorrow left." From then, the young man realized life does not wait and happiness can only be found today. There is a touching story. An orphan boy was often teased and shunned by his classmates. One day, a new teacher arrived. Instead of scolding him, she gently placed her hand on his shoulder and said, "You are very intelligent. Just try a little harder and you will succeed." That single sentence became the driving force for him to study and rise above. Many years later, he became an excellent doctor, always grateful for that compassionate word. Compassion sometimes appears in nothing more than a glance or a word of encouragement, yet its power can open an entire future. The Buddha once taught about the 4 immeasurables, the 4 boundless minds we can all cultivate: loving kindness, metta, the wish for others' happiness; compassion, karuna, the heart that responds to suffering; sympathetic joy, mudita, delight in others' success; equanimity, upekkha, a mind of balance free from attachment and discrimination. If each of us nurtures these 4 minds, the world will be more peaceful. In the family, compassion is the bridge that closes every gap. Parents' love for their children needs wisdom, not just providing food and clothing, but also listening and understanding their inner world. Children's love for their parents is not only in words, but in respect and care shown through small acts. A cup of water, a gentle touch on the shoulder, these are enough to warm a parent's heart. There is a folk story. A son took his elderly mother to dine at a fine restaurant. Her trembling hands dropped food onto her clothes. Many people around laughed, but the son was not embarrassed. He quietly wiped her shirt and continued eating as if nothing had happened. His compassion and filial piety silenced the whole restaurant, making many reflect on how they treated their own parents. Compassion is not lofty. It is simply placing love above appearances and judgment. In society, compassion can be present in the smallest gestures. A driver stopping to let a pedestrian cross. A tired waitress still smiling to greet a customer. A young man helping an old woman across the street. These may seem trivial, but they are seeds of goodness that soften hearts. A practice before sleep. Close your eyes and recall one compassionate act you did today, however small. Perhaps a kind question, a smile, or a nod of greeting. Then whisper, "I nurture compassion so that both myself and others may find peace." If you did not manage today, do not be sad. Simply set the intention that tomorrow you will sow a seed of compassion. That very intention is already a precious practice. A Zen master once said, "When you open your heart to love someone, you also open your heart to welcome peace." This is deeply true. When we are angry or hateful, we are the first to burn. But when we are compassionate, we are the first to feel cool and refreshed. In friendship and love, compassion helps us understand each other better. Instead of blaming when the other speaks harshly, we can listen and see where their pain lies. Instead of resenting when they forget an important day, we can consider that they may be under pressure. Compassion does not weaken us. It strengthens relationships because it is rooted in understanding, not fleeting emotions. The Buddha once said, "Hatred is never appeased by hatred. Only love can appease hatred." This truth remains timeless in today's world, where wars, conflicts, and even daily quarrels abound. If we take compassion as our foundation, we will find the path to reconciliation. Before closing this section, place your hand on your chest. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Whisper, "I open my heart. I choose love instead of anger. I live with compassion." When you carry this vow into your sleep, you will find peace tonight, and tomorrow morning you will wake with a lighter heart. Perhaps in life, what causes us the most suffering is not the outer events themselves, but the way we see and respond to them. The Buddha once taught, "It is not the things themselves that make us suffer, but the way we think about them." When the mind changes, our way of seeing life changes and suffering softens. An old Zen story tells of two prisoners locked in a dark cell. One man lamented all day, "We are miserable, nothing but darkness and chains." The other looked through the small window above and said, "I see the blue sky and a drifting white cloud." Same situation, yet two perceptions created two different worlds. Where the mind dwells, there is the world. In daily life, when facing difficulties, we often fall into the cycle of blame. Why me? Why is life so unfair? But if we pause and observe, we may realize suffering is also a teacher. Each challenge is a lesson that helps us grow. Like the lotus rising from the mud, suffering can be the soil where happiness blooms, if we learn to see with mindful eyes. There was a man who lost his business and all his wealth. He was devastated, unable to rise. One day he happened to hear a monk teaching, "In life, some things are lost not to end us, but to open a new beginning." Those words awakened him. Instead of complaining, he started anew, living simply and cherishing small things. Later, he became a teacher who inspired many. Through suffering, he found a new path. The Buddha once compared the mind to a lake. When strong winds blow, the water ripples and its reflection distorts. But when the wind calms, the surface is still and the sky appears clearly. Our minds are the same. If we let emotions sweep us away, everything becomes distorted. But if we keep calm, truth shines clearly. A practice. When something unpleasant arises, instead of reacting immediately, breathe in deeply, breathe out slowly, and ask, "What lesson does this bring me?" Just one pause, and the mind shifts. The event may remain, but the way we receive it changes. In families, differences in viewpoints are inevitable. Parents may wish their children to follow a stable path, while children long for creativity. If we cling to ego, conflict arises. But if both sides try to step into each other's shoes with empathy, understanding will appear. As the Buddha taught, compassion is not only loving, but also understanding. To understand is to truly love. There is a story. A young woman often grew angry at her mother for constantly reminding her about school and work. One day she wrote on paper, "What would life be like if one day no one reminded me anymore?" Just imagining it brought her to tears. From then on, whenever her mother reminded her, she no longer felt angry, but grateful to still have a mother who cared. When perspective changes, suffering transforms into love. In society, we are easily irritated by small things. Someone cutting in line, someone speaking harshly, a colleague being uncooperative. But if we look deeper, we may see they are suffering in their own way. The one cutting in line may be rushing a child to the hospital. The difficult colleague may be burdened by family troubles. Looking with eyes of understanding, we grow less angry and more compassionate. Before sleeping, you can try a small practice. Recall an event during the day that upset you. Then try to see it from another angle. Ask yourself, if I were that person, what would I do? If I were in their situation, might I have acted the same? When we place ourselves in another's position, our hearts feel lighter. The Buddha once said, "The mind precedes all phenomena. The mind is their chief. The mind shapes them. The mind is like an artist, painting the world around us. If the mind is bright, the scene is bright. If the mind is dark, the scene is dark." So, practice is not about changing the whole world, but about changing the way our mind sees it. Before closing this section, take a deep breath. Whisper in your heart, "I choose to see life with eyes of understanding and love. I learn from every challenge. I release all burdens to sleep peacefully." Carrying this vow into sleep, you will feel as light as a cloud, and tonight will be peaceful. Every moment of listening and practice is a seed of peace planted in the soul. Please support with a like and subscribe to Dharma in Motion so the light of the Dharma may continue to spread to many hearts. In life, we often cling tightly to what we think is right or what we think is important. But the Buddha taught, the root of suffering is attachment. When we hold too tightly, the hand hurts. When we let go, the hand feels light. The mind is the same. Only when we know how to let go do we truly find peace. There is a story. Two monks were walking together when they saw a young woman by a stream, afraid to cross because the water was rushing. One monk carried her across, then continued walking. Hours later, the other monk complained, "Why did you break the rules by carrying a woman like that?" The first monk smiled. "I put her down at the river long ago. Why are you still carrying her?" The words woke him up. Often suffering does not come from events themselves, but from our refusal to let them go. In families, many conflicts also come from not letting go. A careless word, a small mistake in the past. We keep replaying them, making our hearts heavy. If we learn to forgive, to release, relationships become lighter. Parents too sometimes unintentionally hurt their children. But if children only hold on to that hurt, love cannot flow. Letting go is a gift we give to others and to ourselves. There was a woman who came to a Zen master. "I am so angry with my husband. He has said things that hurt me deeply. For years, I cannot forget." The master gave her a cup of water and dropped in a pinch of salt. Then he took her to a lake and dropped in the same amount of salt. The cup tasted bitter, but the lake remained fresh. The master said, "Your anger is like salt. If your heart is small like this cup, bitterness is all you taste. But if your heart is wide like the lake, the salt dissolves and the water is still sweet." She fell silent, realizing that letting go is not forgetting, but expanding the heart so that pain can dissolve. In society, too, we encounter many unpleasant things. Someone gossips, someone treats us unfairly. If we keep it inside, we become weary, but if we let go, we remain at peace. The Buddha once taught, when someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong? To them. Likewise, if we do not accept insults, they do not belong to us. Letting go is not defeat. It is the greatest victory over oneself. There is a simple practice you can do each night. Before sleeping, imagine placing all your worries, anger, and fatigue into a bag. Then gently set that bag down beside your bed. Whisper, "I allow myself to let go. I let today pass, so tonight belongs to peace." Tomorrow morning you may pick up what you truly need, but often you will find many things are not worth carrying anymore. Letting go does not mean neglect, but choosing wisely. Like climbing a mountain, we must set down burdens in order to move forward. In life, only when we release what is unnecessary can we fully embrace what truly matters: love, health, presence. The Buddha once compared life to a raft. The raft helps us cross the river, but once we reach the other shore, we must leave it behind. Otherwise, we exhaust ourselves carrying it. Concepts, judgments, and resentments are like that raft. Once across, let them go. Before ending this section, take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Whisper, "I let go to be at peace. I do not hold on to what weighs me down. I choose lightness. I choose serenity." Carry this into your sleep, and tonight will be gentle. Tomorrow your heart more open. In life, everyone longs to be loved and recognized. Yet the paradox is that the more we expect from outside, the more disappointment we face. The Buddha taught, rely on yourself. This does not mean living closed off or indifferent, but finding peace within rather than depending entirely on others. There is a story of a young man who always sought praise from teachers and friends. When praised, he was happy. When criticized, he sank into sadness. One day his teacher said, "If your mind is like a flag in the wind, it will bend whichever way the wind blows. You will never be steady." These words awakened him. From then on, he learned to listen to himself, working for meaning rather than for approval. Gradually, he grew more confident and peaceful. In modern life, we are easily swayed by what others think. A comment on social media, a disapproving look, a careless word, these can keep us awake at night. But if our minds move with every praise and blame, life will be nothing but storms. On the other hand, if we return to our breath and awareness, we find our anchor of peace again. A Zen master once taught his students, "When you hear praise, smile and ask, 'Am I truly like that?' When you hear criticism, also smile and ask, 'Am I truly like that?' If it is true, correct yourself. If it is not, do not take it in." In this way, praise and blame no longer drown us like waves, but pass by like the wind across a lake. In the family, this is even more important. Sometimes parents unintentionally compare their children. Other kids are so smart and obedient. Such words make children feel inadequate, carrying inferiority into adulthood. But if children understand that their worth lies not in comparison, but in their effort and sincerity, they will be more confident. Parents, too, must not let outside opinions shape their love for their children. Every child is a unique flower, every person a gem with their own color. There was once a woman who complained that her husband no longer cared for her. She waited for compliments, for gifts, yet was often disappointed. Later, practicing the Buddha's teaching, she learned to create her own joy, buying herself flowers, acknowledging her own efforts, smiling to herself when she did something good. Once she stopped placing the heavy burden of expectation on her husband, her heart felt lighter, and surprisingly, their relationship grew warmer. For when one releases expectation, one becomes free, and love becomes purer. The Buddha once reminded, The wise do not seek happiness outside, but cultivate it from within. When we learn to acknowledge ourselves, to care for ourselves, to love ourselves rightly, we no longer depend excessively on others. This is not selfishness. It is the foundation for loving others more deeply. A small practice. Before sleeping, whisper 3 compliments to yourself. Not about great achievements, but about kindness and daily efforts. For example, today I was more patient with my child. Today I worked diligently. Today I smiled at my neighbor. These words are like gifts you offer yourself, warming your heart. In society, one who stands firm amidst praise and blame is like a pine tree in the wind. The strong wind may shake its leaves, but its trunk remains upright. Such a person is not arrogant when praised, nor broken when criticized. That is the strength of a peaceful mind. To close this section, take a deep breath in, then exhale slowly. Place your hand on your chest and whisper, "I am enough. I am not swept away by praise or blame. I live peacefully in mindfulness." When you nurture this faith, your sleep will be gentle, and tomorrow you will awaken with a steadfast heart. In the flow of life, one of the deepest roots of human unrest is fear. We fear losing what we have, fear an uncertain future, fear being misunderstood, fear aging and death. But the Buddha taught, all fear arises from attachment. When we cling too tightly, we fear losing. When we let go, fear dissolves. There is a story. A meditation student told his teacher, "I fear the dark, fear loneliness, fear failure." The teacher took him to a field at night, handed him a lantern and said, "Walk through the night carrying this light. But remember, true light does not come from this lantern outside, but from the awareness within your own heart." As he walked, the student realized that darkness never swallowed him. It was only his mind magnifying it. From then on, he understood, fear has no true substance. It only grows strong when we give it power. In family life, many fear losing love. Wives fear their husbands changing. Parents fear their children drifting away. Because of fear, we sometimes control too much, turning love into pressure. But when we learn to trust, to love with freedom, fear fades. Love is not a chain. It is a pair of wings. There was a mother who constantly worried her son would face danger outside, so she forbade him from going anywhere. The boy grew up suffocated, longing only to escape. Later, when the mother learned the Buddha's teaching on impermanence, she understood she could not keep her son forever. Instead of forbidding, she chose to listen and gently advise. From then on, the bond between mother and son became warmer. By letting go of fear, she found peace. In society, the fear of failure prevents many from moving forward. Yet failure is simply part of life. Just as a child must fall many times before walking steadily, we too must stumble to grow strong. Those who see failure as a lesson do not fear it, but treat it as opportunity. The Buddha taught, the wise turn difficulties into opportunities and challenges into teachers. There was once a merchant who lost his entire shipment at sea. Instead of giving up, he sat in meditation and asked, "What lesson does this loss teach me?" He realized his greed had led him to overload the ship until it could not withstand the waves. From then on, he changed his way of trading, living with moderation and stability, and eventually succeeded. Fear is nothing but a passing fog. When it clears, the sky is bright. A small practice before sleep. Close your eyes, recall a fear within you. Then take a deep breath in, exhale slowly, and whisper, "This fear does not define me. I am only the one observing it." When you stand as the observer, fear no longer controls you. Like watching clouds drift by, you do not become the clouds. You simply watch and let them pass. The Buddha emphasized mindfulness as the key to overcoming fear. With each mindful breath, we return to the present. In the present moment, there is nothing to fear. The future has not yet come. The past is gone. Only this moment is real. And in this moment, we are breathing. We are alive. So what is there to fear? There was a king who feared death greatly. He summoned wise men to ask, "How can I stop worrying?" One sage gave him a ring inscribed with the words, "This too shall pass." Whenever he was sad or joyful, fearful or anxious, he looked at the words, and indeed, all emotions, all fears passed like drifting clouds. Understanding this, his heart gradually became calm. Before ending this section, place your hand on your chest. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Whisper, "I do not let fear control me. I am only the observer. I live with mindfulness and peace." Carrying this vow into sleep, the night will be gentle, and tomorrow you will awaken stronger, freer. One of the reasons people fail to find peace is because the mind is restless. We think too much of the past, worry too much about the future, while forgetting the present moment. The Buddha taught, "Do not chase after the past, do not long for the future. Dwell in the present moment." A Zen master once asked his students, "Where will you live?" One answered, "In the past, because my memories are so beautiful." Another said, "In the future, because I want to dream of what is to come." The master smiled. If you live in the past, you embrace shadows. If you live in the future, you embrace clouds. Only the present is where life truly is. In modern life, we are easily swept away by haste. Walking on the street, phone in hand, the mind thinking of work, the heart worrying about tomorrow. Everything happens, but we are not truly there. That absence is what makes happiness absent too. A delicious meal, a child's smile, a cool breeze, all become meaningless if the mind is elsewhere. There was a man always rushing with work. One day, while eating dinner, his little daughter asked, "Daddy, do you think the food is delicious today?" He suddenly realized he had not even tasted it. His mind was still trapped in tomorrow's contract. At that moment, he paused, chewed slowly, and discovered the sweetness in each grain of rice. He looked at his daughter and smiled. For the first time in years, he felt peace, right there, in a simple family meal. In the family, presence is the greatest gift we can offer one another. Children do not need wealthy parents. They need parents who truly listen. Parents do not expect their children to achieve grand success as much as they wish for simple moments of conversation. To be present is to love. There was once a son who was always busy, rarely visiting his mother. Only after she passed did he realize how many precious moments he had missed. He regretted never sitting with her, never listening to her ordinary stories. The present had slipped away, never to return. That story is a reminder. We cannot live the same moment twice, so we must live it fully now. The Buddha once compared the human mind to a monkey swinging from branch to branch, leaping from past to future. Only when it stops, resting in the present, can we discover stillness, a mindful breath, a mindful step. These are enough to bring us back to the truth that we are alive. A simple practice you can do before sleeping. Lie down, close your eyes, and place your hand on your belly. When inhaling, know that you are inhaling. When exhaling, know that you are exhaling. Do not think of tomorrow. Do not let the mind drift to yesterday. Just breathe. Just feel your body resting. In that moment, you are truly living, not in memory, not in imagination, but in the present moment. There was once a king tormented by worry, unable to sleep. He invited a Zen master. The master simply said, "Sit still and breathe. When you breathe, only know you are breathing. Think of nothing else." At first, the king was restless, but gradually he felt the stillness in each breath. That night, for the first time in many years, he slept peacefully. He realized that peace does not come from power or wealth. but from being fully present in the moment. In society, if everyone knew how to return to the present, much stress would be released. An employee would not live in constant fear of losing a job, for he would savor today's work. A student would not be overwhelmed before exams, for she would study diligently in each hour of the present. Living fully, we fear less, regret less, and happiness becomes closer. Before closing this section, take a deep breath. Whisper within, I return to the present. I release the past. I do not worry about the future. I dwell in this moment. When you sleep with such presence, your rest will be like a clear, gentle stream, carrying you into a peaceful night. Human beings often fall into comparison and envy. Seeing someone more successful, wealthier, or happier, our hearts stir with unrest. But the Buddha taught, do not look upward to see your lack, look within to see your fullness. The root of suffering is not in others, but in how we perceive. An old story tells of two fish talking. One complained, life is so hard, water is scarce, I can hardly breathe. The other laughed, we are in the vast ocean, don't you see? Sometimes happiness is already within our reach, but by focusing only on what is missing, we make ourselves suffer. In families, comparison is a deep pit that creates distance. A wife comparing her husband to others, a father comparing his child to the neighbor's child. These words may seem harmless, but they sow seeds of dissatisfaction, turning love into pressure. Only when we truly value our own loved ones can we preserve genuine happiness. There was once a wife who often complained to her husband, you're not like other men, you're not romantic, not wealthy. One day, while her husband was away on a long business trip, she realized it was his simplicity and hard work that had been her steady support all along. Comparison had made her forget what was truly precious. When she understood, she learned gratitude, and gradually warmth returned to the family. In society, envy is a hidden fire that quietly burns away joy. A colleague's promotion can keep us awake at night. A friend's new home can make us feel heavy. Yet, if we practice mudita, rejoicing in the happiness of others, our hearts become lighter. Mudita is one of the four immeasurable minds the Buddha taught. Loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Those who practice mudita are never poor, for the happiness of others becomes their own. There was once a poor craftsman who saw his neighbor's house alive with music and lights for a wedding. At first, he felt sad, comparing it with his own hardship. Then he shifted his view. Their joy is also my joy. He went to offer congratulations, joining the celebration. That evening, though his dinner was only vegetables and salt, his heart was full. The joy of others had become his lantern. The Buddha once compared envy to drinking poison, while hoping others would suffer. Envy never diminishes others, it only dries our own hearts. By contrast, rejoicing in others' happiness opens our hearts wide like a lake reflecting the moon, clearer, brighter. A small practice before sleep. Recall someone who found joy or success today. Silently wish them well. May you always be happy. Your joy is also my joy. At first, it may feel awkward, but gradually warmth will grow, and envy will fade like clouds before the wind. A Zen master once said, the one who knows gratitude and rejoices in the joy of others will be happy wherever they go. Such happiness is not bound by wealth or achievements, but comes from a vast heart. Before closing this section, take a deep breath in, exhale slowly, and whisper in your heart, I am content. I rejoice in the happiness of others. I do not let comparison and envy bring me suffering. With this intention, your sleep will be as gentle as a lullaby, and tomorrow you will wake with a lighter, more spacious heart. There is something everyone experiences, anger. Anger is like fire. It burns us before reaching anyone else. The Buddha taught, Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at another. You are the one who gets burned first. If we do not recognize and transform it, anger causes deep damage in families, friendships, and within ourselves. One story tells of a general known for his temper. He easily exploded at his soldiers, making them fearful and distant. One day, he asked a Zen master, "How can I lessen my anger?" The master handed him a glass of water just stirred with sand, then said, "Put it down." After a while, the sand settled and the water cleared. The master explained, "Your mind is the same. When it is stirred, put it down. Wait patiently, and clarity will return." From then on, the general practiced pausing in silence before reacting, and he became a leader beloved by many. In families, anger often appears most frequently. A tired husband snaps at his wife and children. A stressed mother scolds her kids. Words spoken in anger can leave deep wounds in the hearts of loved ones. But if we pause, breathe, and look at our family with eyes of love, we will see no one is worthy of our anger, for they are the very ones we love most. There was once a young woman who admitted that whenever she argued with her mother, she would respond with harsh words. But when her mother fell seriously ill, regret overwhelmed her. She said, "If only I had been more patient, more willing to listen, her last days would have been warmer." That regret was a lesson. Many things in life can be repaired, but words once spoken can never be taken back. So we must not let anger become an irreparable wound. In society, anger spreads quickly. A single comment online, a minor accident on the road. These are enough to ignite tempers. Yet if each person knows how to pause, anger becomes like a fire without wood, dying out on its own. A calm person can dissolve tension, saving not only themselves, but also others. The Buddha taught patience, not as passive endurance, but as the strength of one who masters themselves. A patient heart is as vast as the ocean, where a pinch of salt cannot make the water salty. An impatient heart is as small as a cup, where the same salt turns the water bitter. By widening our hearts, anger has no place to remain. A small practice before sleep. Recall one situation in the day that made you upset. Instead of blaming, observe the feeling like an onlooker. Then take a deep breath and whisper, "I am not this anger, I am only the one who sees it." Forgive the one who angered you and forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not because others deserve it, but because you deserve lightness. Another beautiful metaphor tells of a monk who was insulted. Instead of reacting, he simply smiled. When asked why, he replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, the gift still belongs to them." Insults are the same. If we do not take them in, they do not hurt us. Those who understand this live peacefully amid praise and blame, gossip and criticism. In marriage or friendship, anger is a major test, but precisely in these moments, we have the chance to practice love. When one side pauses, breathes, and refrains from adding fuel to the fire, love gains the chance to heal. There was once a family on the brink of breaking apart from constant quarrels, but after practicing mindful breathing together, they learned to listen in silence and found their bond again. Before closing this section, gently place your hand on your chest. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and whisper, "I do not let anger control me. I know how to pause, how to forgive. I choose peace instead of rage." With this intention, your sleep will be like cool water extinguishing the flames of anger, bringing you to rest in peace. In life, one of the roots of restlessness is endless ambition. We think happiness will come when we achieve something more. Yet before we can enjoy what we already have, the mind wants the next thing. The Buddha taught, "The one who knows contentment is the richest of all." True wealth does not come from possessions, but from cherishing what we already have. There is a story of a very wealthy king who was always restless. He invited a sage and asked, "How can I be happy?" The sage told him, "Wear the shirt of the happiest man in the kingdom." The king sent his soldiers everywhere, but they found no such shirt. The rich feared losing their wealth. The poor complained of hardship. At last, they met a humble farmer who lived simply and smiled brightly. He said, "I am the happiest man, but I own no shirt. My only one is worn out." The king suddenly realized happiness does not lie in possessions, but in a contented, peaceful heart. In modern life, we often compare ourselves with others. Seeing someone with a bigger house or a nicer car, we become anxious and crave more. Yet this very ambition exhausts us and robs us of simple joys. Contentment does not mean we stop striving, but that we know when to pause and cherish each step along the way. There was once a successful businessman whose health began to collapse. Doctors warned him to rest or his illness would worsen. He suddenly realized the trips never taken, the family meals missed, the sunsets unseen, all had been lost in his endless race. Only when he let go of ambition did he begin to truly live. In family life, contentment is the foundation of happiness. A poor couple, grateful for each meal of simple vegetables and each smile of their children, live in harmony. With no complaints or comparisons, their love grows stronger. Meanwhile, some wealthy families remain tense and unhappy, never feeling enough, always desiring more. In the end, happiness slips away. The Buddha taught of 4 joys for a householder: rightfully earned wealth, using wealth to support family, helping others, and living without debt. Yet the greatest joy is contentment. When content, the heart is light as a cloud, and life becomes serene. A small practice before sleep. Close your eyes and recall 3 things you are grateful for today. They may be simple: a good meal, a smile given to you, or just the rhythm of your breath. Acknowledging these small gifts, you will see how rich you already are, and your sleep will become more peaceful. A Zen master once said, "Happiness does not come when we get everything we want, but when we cherish everything we have." This teaching reminds us not to chase distant illusions, but to return and savor this present moment. A beautiful image of contentment is the lotus flower. It rises from the mud, yet when it blooms, it neither despises the mud nor wishes to be something else. It simply blossoms, offering fragrance and beauty in its own way. So too, when we know contentment, we naturally bloom in life. Before closing this section, take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Whisper in your heart, "I am content. I cherish what I have. I live happily in this very moment." With this vow embraced, sleep will come gently, like a leaf settling on a still lake. There is something invisible that quietly erodes the human heart: fear. We fear loss, illness, failure, loneliness. Some even fear their own happiness, worrying it will fade too soon. The Buddha taught that the root of fear is attachment. When we cling tightly to something, fear of losing it arises. Long ago, a king had a goldsmith craft a ring engraved with the words, "This too shall pass." He wished to remember that joy does not last forever, and sorrow too will not stay. This insight into impermanence helped him face many upheavals with calm. Impermanence is not something to fear, but a reminder to treasure what we have and to worry less about tomorrow. In modern life, fear takes many forms. A student fears bad grades, an employee fears losing their job, a father fears not being able to provide for his family. Yet if we sit quietly and observe, we realize most fears are only assumptions in the mind, not realities. Like a dark room, once a lamp is lit, we see there was nothing to fear. The light of mindfulness is the same. Once kindled, fear dissolves. There was once a mother who constantly worried about her son studying far from home. Each day her mind was filled with terrible scenarios. One day she heard a monk teach, "To love is not to grasp, but to trust and let go." She began practicing slow breathing, sending blessings to her son instead of worries. Miraculously, her heart grew calmer and their relationship became lighter. Fear is like waves on a lake. The more we struggle, the stronger they become. But if we sit still, the waves subside on their own. The Buddha taught, when facing fear, do not run away and do not resist. Sit quietly, breathe, and look directly at it. Once recognized, fear is seen for what it is, a passing emotion, not our true nature, and then it fades. A merchant once lost all his goods at sea during a storm. In despair, he believed his life was over. After many days, he sought help from a temple. The monk smiled and said, "You lost your goods, but you have not lost yourself. From failure, you can begin anew." Hearing this, the merchant felt a heavy burden lift. He stood up, started again, and later became even more successful. But more importantly, he had learned not to let fear and failure imprison him. In families, when fear dominates, love easily becomes a chain. A husband afraid of losing his wife tries to control everything she does. A mother afraid her child will suffer denies them freedom. But true love is giving space, not binding. Only when we release fear can love be genuine. A small practice before sleep. Recall a fear still present in your heart. Breathe gently and whisper, "Hello, fear. I know you are there. I do not push you away, and I do not let you control me." Then imagine fear as a passing cloud, while you are the vast sky. Clouds will pass. The sky remains. With practice, you will see fear is fleeting, but serenity is your essence. The Buddha emphasized, living without fear is one measure of true happiness. One who understands impermanence and letting go realizes there is nothing to lose, and therefore nothing to fear. Before closing this section, gently place your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. Inhale, knowing you are alive. Exhale, smiling because this moment is precious. Whisper, "I release fear, I choose peace." Let your mind settle like a still lake under the moon, carrying you into restful sleep. One of the heaviest burdens on the human heart is the past. We often recall mistakes, wounds, and endless if-onlys, binding ourselves in regret. But the Buddha taught, the past is gone, the future has not yet come. Only the present moment is worth living. We may look back to learn, but to cling is only to suffer. There was once a man who had made mistakes in business and lost all his capital. Every day he drowned in regret, blaming himself. If only I hadn't invested that day, if only I had been more clear-headed. He lived in misery for many years, until one day he met a monk and heard the words, "The one who holds a hot coal to throw at others burns himself first. The one who clings to the past to accuse wounds himself first." He awakened, gradually released the painful memories, began again, and life became brighter. In family life, many are also bound by the past. A husband and wife often bring up each other's mistakes, turning every conversation into an argument. They do not realize that when old wounds are always recalled, love never feels new. When they learn to forgive and live in the present, they rediscover warmth. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, but not allowing old wounds to control the present. A Zen story tells, two monks walked along a muddy road and encountered a young woman afraid to cross. One monk carried her across and set her down. All three continued walking. That evening, the other monk reproached him. "We are monks. How could you carry a woman?" The first monk smiled and replied, "I put her down at the road, but you are still carrying her in your mind until now." The past is the same. if we do not let go, we are the ones who suffer the longest. In society, many are haunted by past mistakes. Some, having failed in love, close their hearts and dare not love again. Some, having been ridiculed, withdraw and dare not express themselves. But the past does not define us. It is only a part of the journey, teaching us to grow stronger. When we realize this, we can move forward with freedom. Practicing letting go of the past is not easy, but we can begin with small steps. Each night before sleeping, imagine you are holding a heavy backpack. Inside are all your sad memories, reproaches, regrets. Slowly set the backpack down. Whisper, "I carry it no longer. The past has gone. I choose the present." When you repeat this daily, gradually, the backpack will grow lighter until it disappears. The Buddha taught impermanence to remind us that everything changes. What causes us suffering today may tomorrow become a precious lesson. The one who hurt us may tomorrow be only a distant memory. When we see impermanence, we know how to cherish the present and release the past. In friendship as well. Someone may have betrayed or hurt us, but if we keep holding anger, the only one who suffers is ourselves. Forgiveness does not mean accepting what is wrong, but freeing ourselves from the chains of hatred. Forgiveness is the gift we give to ourselves. A Zen master once advised, "Every morning when you wake, consider life as beginning anew." When we see each day as a new opportunity, we are no longer dragged back by what has passed. Each day is a blank page on which we can paint a new picture. Before ending this section, please close your eyes, breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly. Whisper in your heart, "I put the past down. I live fully in this moment." Then let your breath carry you into peaceful sleep, like a stream washing away all sorrows, leaving only tranquility in the soul. There is a habit that makes us suffer, comparing ourselves to others. From childhood, we were asked, "Why aren't you as good as A? Why aren't you as obedient as B?" Growing up, we compare salaries, houses, cars, children, and so the heart is never at ease because there will always be someone better in some way. The Buddha once reminded, "Do not compare. Each person is a flower with their own unique beauty." There is a story about a rose and a lotus. The rose was proud of its bright red color and mocked the lotus. "You live in dirty mud. How can you compare to me on this noble branch?" The lotus smiled and replied, "I do not need to be like anyone. I only need to bloom in my own way." In the end, both were admired, for each flower has its own beauty. People are the same. When we know how to live as ourselves, we will feel much lighter. In families, comparisons can also create cracks. Some parents unintentionally compare their children with the neighbors, causing the child to grow up with an inferiority complex. Some couples compare their spouse with others, leading to a loss of trust. Comparison is like planting poisonous seeds in the heart, which gradually turn into distance. A friend once told me he was a craftsman. His products never sold as much as industrial goods, so he always felt inferior. One time he joined a fair and saw an old man buy his wooden chair with radiant eyes. The man said, "I chose this chair because I can see the craftsman's hand in every grain of wood." At that moment, my friend understood. True value does not lie in numbers or comparisons, but in sincerity in every action. In modern society, social media makes comparisons even heavier. We see others flaunting travel, success, and happiness, and we immediately feel inferior. But we forget that what they share is only a fragment. Behind the shining picture may be a long, exhausting day. If we keep comparing, we only gain more suffering. True happiness is not living like someone else, but living fully as ourselves. The Buddha taught about mudita, joy in the happiness of others. When we see a friend succeed, we sincerely congratulate them instead of being envious. When we see a neighbor happy, we smile and share their joy instead of feeling inferior. Mudita is the medicine that heals comparison. When we practice joy, our hearts become more spacious and happiness grows. A small practice before bed. Recall someone who had joy or success today. Instead of comparing, silently send a blessing. May you be happy. May your joy continue to blossom. Then turn back to yourself and also smile. I too have value. I too deserve happiness. When you practice this, you will sleep with a lighter heart. A beautiful image is that of the moon and the sun. The moon does not need to shine like the sun, and the sun does not need to be gentle like the moon. Each has its own role, adorning the sky. People are the same. Everyone has their place and their own mission. When we understand this, we stop comparing and stop making ourselves suffer. In love or friendship, comparisons easily erode appreciation. A wife who constantly compares her husband with others will sooner or later forget his unique good qualities. A friend who always weighs gains and losses will find the friendship hard to last. Only when we learn to see each other's unique value can relationships endure. Before ending this section, please take a deep breath, place your hand on your chest, and whisper, I no longer compare. I am myself, and that is enough. Let your mind return to peace. Slowly relax, and let sleep come like a gentle friend, lulling you with serenity. If these sharings touch your heart, please give a like and subscribe to Dharma in Motion. Your companionship is the source of motivation for us to continue bringing stories that nurture wisdom and compassion. One of the silent burdens many people carry is anger. Sometimes just a displeasing word, an unfriendly glance, or an act against our will is enough to ignite a burning fire in the heart. But the Buddha taught anger is the fire that burns away merit, like strong winds extinguishing a bright lamp. When we get angry, not only do others suffer, but we ourselves are like drinking poison. There is an old story. A man got angry with his wife and shouted loudly. Then he went to the garden and struck a tree with an axe. The tree did not react, it just stood silently. After a while, he realized he had hurt his hand, damaged the tree, but the anger inside him remained. From then on, he began to practice breathing and sitting still whenever he was angry, so as not to make others suffer and not to make himself suffer. In the family, anger is what destroys happiness the fastest. A father scolds his child, and the child grows fearful, the distance between them widening. A wife loses her temper with her husband, and gradually love is obscured. The wounds caused by anger are often invisible to the eye, yet deeply engraved in the hearts of loved ones. The Buddha once told a story. Someone came and insulted him harshly. He smiled, remaining silent. When the man asked why he did not respond, he replied, "If someone gives me a gift, but I do not accept it, the gift still belongs to them." Anger is the same. If we do not accept it, it cannot hurt us. But if we do, it burns us first. In today's society, irritability is even easier to show. A traffic incident, a comment online, a small misunderstanding is enough to spark arguments and conflict. But have we ever asked ourselves, what remains after the anger? Only fatigue, regret, and greater distance between people. A good lesson is compared with salt water. If you put a spoonful of salt in a small cup, the water will be unbearably salty. But the same spoonful in a large lake is hardly noticeable. Anger is the same. If the mind is narrow, a few words can make us erupt. But if the mind is vast, we can contain it, and anger dissolves. Expanding the heart is the way to dilute the bitterness of anger. A small practice before sleeping. Recall a time during the day when you felt upset. Instead of blaming yourself or others, breathe gently, then whisper, "This anger is not me. I am only the observer of it." Imagine anger as a dark cloud while you are the vast sky. Clouds drift away, the sky remains blue. In this way, anger gradually dissolves, leaving peace within. There was a boy who often lost his temper. His father gave him a bag of nails and told him, "Each time you get angry at someone, hammer a nail into the fence." At first, every day he hammered many nails, but gradually he grew tired, realizing it was not worth it. He learned to restrain himself, and the number of nails decreased. One day, he no longer needed to hammer nails. His father said, "You see, anger leaves marks. Even when you pull the nails out, the scars remain. So never let anger turn into action." That lesson stayed with him for life. In love, small angers, if not released, will accumulate into deep cracks. Sometimes just an apology, a hug, or a gentle look is enough to erase anger. Love is fragile. Do not let it be consumed by the fire of ignorance. The Buddha called patience a strength. The one who knows patience is not weak, but one whose mind is as steady as a mountain. A mountain is unmoved by the wind. The steadfast are unmoved by anger. When we are patient, our hearts grow wider, our minds clearer, and happiness is preserved longer. Before closing this section, please close your eyes, breathe in deeply, and breathe out slowly. Whisper, "I release my anger, I choose peace." Let the breath soothe you, like a cool breeze over the fields, carrying away all heat, leaving only stillness. In that stillness, sleep will come, gentle like a kind friend. There is a silent root of suffering that everyone carries in some measure. Worry. We worry about the future, about work, about our children, about health. We worry so much that even lying in bed, the mind runs after scenarios that have not happened. The Buddha taught, worry is like a man carrying a torch against the wind. He not only fails to light the way, but burns himself. Once someone came to the Buddha and lamented, "I worry too much. What if tomorrow the harvest fails? What if illness strikes? What if I lose all my wealth?" The Buddha asked, "Are you certain these things will happen?" The man shook his head. The Buddha smiled. "Then why do you burn yourself with flames that have not yet arisen?" In family life, many parents always worry for their children. Worry when they go to school, worry when they grow up, worry even when they have families of their own. A mother once confided, "Every day I worry so much that I have no time to enjoy what I have." Until she fell ill and lay in bed, she realized, children do not need a mother who worries all day, but one who is joyful, healthy, and fully present. There is a short Zen story. A young monk asked his teacher, "I worry too much, I don't know how to stop." The teacher pointed to the sky. "Do you see the clouds drifting? They come and go. Worry is the same. Do not cling, just watch it pass." From then, the young monk learned to observe worry instead of letting it bind him. In modern society, worry seems even heavier. People chase after work, deadlines, relationships, always afraid they are not enough. Many lose sleep because their minds cannot stop weaving stories. But the truth is, most of what we worry about never happens. They exist only in imagination, wearing us down. The Buddha taught mindfulness as the remedy for anxiety. When the mind rests on the breath, each step, each task, worry naturally subsides. Worry pulls us toward the future, while mindfulness brings us back to the present. In the present, there is nothing to fear. A small practice before bed. Sit or lie comfortably. Place your hand on your belly. Breathing in, know you are breathing in. Breathing out, know you are breathing out. Each time a worrying thought arises, smile and whisper, "It's okay, just a thought." Then return to the breath. In this way, layers of misty worry dissolve, revealing the clear sky of the mind. A touching story. There was a boy who always feared the dark. Each night, he clung to his mother and asked, "Mom, if I sleep, will the darkness swallow me?" The mother gently replied, "No, my child. Darkness is only the place where light has not yet reached. Once light comes, darkness disappears. Her words not only lulled her child to sleep, but also gave a lesson to us all. Worry is only the place where faith and mindfulness have not yet arrived. When the mind shines, worry vanishes. In work, instead of worrying too much, we can learn to prepare carefully and then let go. Like the farmer who sows seeds and tends the field, while sun and rain follow the course of nature. Worrying does not make the plants grow faster, it only makes us weary. Preparation and trust, that is the way to face the future. A Zen master once said, "The one who knows how to release worry sleeps well. The one who cannot, even if staying awake all night, resolves nothing." Indeed, many spend sleepless nights thinking about tomorrow, but tomorrow still comes in its own way. Only by letting go can we preserve the strength to move forward. Before closing this section, please close your eyes. Breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly. Smile and whisper, "Tomorrow has not yet come. I am only here in this moment." Let the breath guide you into restful sleep, where worries melt away, leaving peace to embrace the soul. Among life's greatest lessons, perhaps forgiveness is an important doorway to peace. Without forgiveness, we imprison ourselves in the narrow room of resentment and blame. Forgiveness does not mean agreeing with mistakes, but laying down the burden on our shoulders to walk more lightly. The Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at another. You are the one who gets burned." There is a story about two close friends. One day, they quarreled. The first, in anger, slapped the other. The one who was slapped stayed silent and wrote in the sand, "Today my friend slapped me." They continued on together until they came to a river, where the one who slapped slipped and almost drowned, but was saved by his friend. This time, he carved into stone, "Today my friend saved me." Surprised, the friend asked, "Why did you write in sand before, but carve in stone now?" He smiled, "Because mistakes should be written in sand to be blown away by the wind, but kindness should be carved in stone to be remembered forever." That is forgiveness, releasing mistakes but keeping gratitude deep. In the family, forgiveness is even more vital. Some parents scold harshly, leaving children wounded for years. Some couples hold grudges over small mistakes and love fades away. If each insists on winning, in the end, both lose. But if one person knows how to step back, to open the heart, the fire of anger is extinguished and love is rekindled. A Zen master once taught his student, "If you carry a heavy sack of sand all day, would you be tired?" The student replied, "Yes, very tired." The master said, "Holding on to hatred is the same. You can choose to set the sack down at any time." In truth, forgiveness is not so difficult. It is only that we have not yet chosen to put it down. In modern society, we often witness relationships breaking because no one is willing to forgive. Yet there are also beautiful stories. A father forgave the person who caused the accident that killed his child, transforming his pain into motivation to help victims of traffic accidents. He said, "If I do not forgive, I will drown in hatred. Forgiveness not only saves the other, but also saves me." Forgiveness does not mean forgetting everything, but not letting the past control the present. We may remember, but with a peaceful heart. We may recall, but as a lesson, not a wound. Forgiveness is a gift we give to others, but at the same time, it is a gift we give to ourselves. A small practice before bed. Think of someone who once hurt you. Instead of letting their image bring discomfort, softly say, "I forgive you, just as I hope to be forgiven." Then imagine placing a heavy stone down by the roadside. From there, you walk lighter. As you sleep, the mind is at peace. In friendship or love, forgiveness makes relationships stronger. Some couples separate because of small mistakes accumulated over time, with no one willing to let go. But there are also couples who live happily for a lifetime because they forgive each other every day. No one is perfect, and forgiveness is the glue that binds lasting connections. A beautiful image, a still lake reflecting the sky and clouds. If we throw a stone, ripples appear. But if we wait, the ripples fade and the lake becomes calm again. Our hearts are the same. If we let time and compassion work, anger will also dissolve, leaving only serenity. Before closing this section, please take a deep breath and whisper, "I choose forgiveness. I release the burden." Let your mind open, your heart lighten, and sleep arrive in gentleness and warmth. One of the greatest burdens of the human heart is desire. From childhood, we wished for new toys. Growing up, we wished for success, wealth, and perfect love. And when we got those things, we wished for more. Desire itself is not bad, but if we do not know when to stop, it becomes a chain binding us, making us never feel enough. The Buddha taught, "The one who knows contentment is the richest." There is a story. A king ordered his men to find the shirt of the happiest person. The envoys searched everywhere, meeting the wealthy, but all complained they did not have enough. At last, they found a poor farmer who was joyful. He said, "I have nothing but health and a peaceful family, and that is enough to make me happy." The farmer had no shirt at all, yet he was the happiest man. Happiness does not lie in possessions, but in the heart that knows contentment. In families, desire often becomes the cause of conflict. Parents want their children to achieve high grades. Children want parents to understand them. Wives want husbands to earn more. Husbands want wives to be perfect. These desires, if too great and lacking compassion, easily turn into disappointment. In truth, love only needs simplicity. A shared meal, a caring word, a held hand. Another Zen story. A student asked his teacher, "Master, when will I have enough?" The teacher gave him a cup, poured water until it was full, and kept pouring. The water overflowed. The teacher said, "When your heart always wants more, you will never feel full like this cup. Only when you stop will you see it is already full." Excessive desire robs us of joy in the present. In modern society, desire is stronger than ever. Social media is full of glamorous images, making many compare themselves and long to be like others. Some exhaust themselves to buy a luxury car or a large house, but once they have them, the joy quickly fades. Then they desire more, and the cycle has no end. The Buddha taught the middle way, not to abandon everything, but not to be greedy either. Enjoy what you have, but do not let it control your mind, like one rowing a boat, holding the oar firmly but not clinging, just enough to cross the river. A small practice before bed. Close your eyes and recall 3 things you already have that make you grateful. It could be health, a small home, or your child's laughter. Whisper, "This is enough." When you know contentment, the heart naturally rests, and sleep becomes lighter. There was a story about a successful man who was always complaining of exhaustion. One day, he returned to his hometown to visit an old friend and saw his poor friend sitting on the porch, drinking tea, gazing at the moon, smiling innocently. Surprised, he asked, "How can you be happy when you have nothing?" The other replied, "Because I don't see myself lacking anything." The answer left him speechless. Happiness, in truth, is only how we look at life. The fewer our desires, the lighter our heart. Like carrying a backpack, the more we stuff inside, the heavier it becomes. But if we carry only what is needed, the journey is easier. We don't have to give up everything, but we must choose carefully, keeping only what truly matters in the heart. Before closing this section, please breathe in deeply, breathe out slowly, and whisper, "I am enough. I am grateful for what I have." Such words are like a key opening the door of peace, guiding you into gentle sleep, where desires melt away, leaving only contentment in the present. At the end of the journey, we realize all of the Buddha's teachings, compassion, patience, letting go, contentment, forgiveness, mindfulness, meet at a single point, helping us find peace within ourselves. The path out of suffering is not far away. It lies in how we live each day, in every breath, every thought, every small gesture. Someone once asked the Buddha, "Can you summarize the Dharma in one sentence?" He smiled and replied, "Do no evil, cultivate good, keep the mind pure." Those three simple things, if practiced, are enough to transform a life. Let us look back at the journey we have walked together. We learned to release anger like dropping a stone into a river, to forgive so the heart is wide like a lake, to know contentment so we no longer chase endlessly, to live slowly, cherish the present, and see that happiness has always been here. These lessons are not distant philosophies, but keys, opening peace in each day. In family, if each person listens, endures, and forgives, the home becomes the most peaceful place. In work, if we know when to stop, to be content, to share, then work becomes joy rather than burden. In the heart, if we know how to let go and live with mindfulness, no storm can disturb us. There is a beautiful image often used by Zen masters, a candle in the wind. If the mind is restless, the flame is easily extinguished. But if we know how to protect and preserve it, the candle will shine endlessly. That candle is mindfulness and compassion within each of us. If we nurture it, it can light the path of life, guiding us through darkness to dawn. A small practice to close this entire series. Lie still, close your eyes, place your hand on your heart. Inhale and whisper, "I am peaceful." Exhale and whisper, "I am free." Let the breath return you to the peace already within. Then smile gently, "I am enough, I let go, I am grateful." These simple words, if practiced each night, become the softest pillow carrying you into sleep. There was once a king who asked a sage, "What is the most precious thing in life?" The sage replied, "The present moment." The king asked again, "Who is the most important?" Answer, "The person beside you now." Again he asked, "What is the most important action?" The sage said, "To do good, right in this moment." This story reminds us all happiness lies here, in this moment, not in tomorrow or the past. The Buddha once taught, "A single lamp can light 1,000 others without its light being diminished." Compassion is the same. Each time we offer a smile, a kind word, a loving gesture, we light a lamp for someone and our own heart shines brighter. Our journey together through these 35 parts has been a journey of lighting such lamps. From letting go of anger, overcoming worry, learning forgiveness, living with mindfulness, to knowing contentment and nurturing compassion. Each part is a small lamp, now joined into a long stream of light, illuminating the path into restful sleep. Before closing, please take another deep breath. Whisper, "May I be at peace. May my loved ones be at peace. May all beings everywhere be at peace." Let your heart expand like a boundless sky. Now you may let go of all burdens. Tomorrow will come with its own joys and challenges, but this moment is only for resting in peace. Let sleep embrace you gently. Let the Buddha's teachings become a lullaby in your heart, carrying you into a serene dream. Dear friend, this podcast video comes to a close, but the silence, serenity, and happiness do not end here. They continue to flow in each breath, in every moment you live fully. If these sharings have brought you a little peace, please give a like to spread this positive energy further. And don't forget to click subscribe to Dharma in Motion, along with the little bell icon, so that each evening you may have moments of listening, letting go of suffering, and receiving peace with us. Every subscription is a source of encouragement for us to continue sharing stories, teachings, and lessons of the Dharma to more hearts. Wishing you a restful sleep, a truly peaceful soul, and a tomorrow filled with the light of compassion and wisdom.